of the world champion Boston Celtics. WBZ-FM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
Patriots held their first practice of the week yesterday in Foxborough and finally got both starting left tackle Verdarian Lowe and starting left guard Sidney So back out on the field. The bad news is they were without tight end Hunter Henry and defensive back Alex Austin along with Juwan Bentley. The Patriots have started the regular season with 2 losses in 3 games. Gerard Mayo, for his part, trying to put a bad loss to the Jets behind him.
You go back and watch the film and you just have a honest conversation with yourself, like how you played. And I know a lot of the guys, they did the exact same thing. And there was some good, there was more bad, obviously, in the Thursday game. And we have an opportunity coming up this week against a good football team.
His team will visit San Francisco this Sunday. Former Patriots starting right tackle Calvin Anderson is signed with Pittsburgh Steelers. Former Patriots defensive back Jalen Mills has been signed to the Jets practice squad. Last night there were 2 games to wrap up Week 3 of the NFL season. The Washington Commanders scored touchdowns on each of their first 4 drives, and they shocked the Bengals in Cincinnati 38-33. Josh Allen threw 4 touchdown passes, and Buffalo shredded Jacksonville out in western New York State 47-10. The Red Sox are now a game over 500 after a 4-1 win in Toronto last night. Tanner Houck allowed 1 hit over 5 shutout innings for the win. Brian Bayo starts against the Jays tonight. And the Bruins preseason continues tonight against the Washington Capitals at TD Garden. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers have it at 7 right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Premier Basement Waterproofing. This fall, the guru Mike Albert's the only one you let into your basement if you never want to see a drop of water again. 844-LIVE-DRY or premierbasement.net. Say it with me. It's game over for water. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
Boston, the greatest sports town in America.
We have a farm. I have about 200 pigs here.
We get to spill beers on each other without worrying about spilling beers on people.
Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Fred, hello. Hello. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
He's naked. He has a sword.
Open him up with a football.
98.5 The Hub.
Bruins are back from the West Coast.
Cocaine and hookers. Yes. Na.
Is it okay to use this for the radio?
Yeah. Welcome to the show, you sweet bitch.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy, Town Fair Tire Studios. You can call us 617-779-0985. You can know that we are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel, and we are on YouTube. If you search 985thesportshub.com, you can see us on YouTube. It's a very exciting day today because Adolfo Gonzalez will be here as he returns to the show. He is here until Thursday. He leaves Thursday. I got him a ticket. He got in yesterday. And then he will be leaving on Thursday. But he will be coming in today. He's already up. He's already up this morning.
Wow.
So it will be very exciting. Someone from the show will go get him, and then he will be here. We will have him on at 9 o'clock, and everyone will get to see Adolfo again. Who knows? He might be in all 3 days. He wants to hang out. I did not see him yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It's very difficult for me to get out like that.
Why?
Well, the children. And also my ex-wife has had a nothing serious, but she had a medical procedure that is left her housebound for the next week probably. So I've had to be filling in for that. I have I'm a single parent, essentially. So that's why.
You're dealing with shut-ins. You're dealing with children.
Yes, it's she's become a shut-in. And like a true glorious gladiator, I have agreed to step in and do all of that. In fact,
when I was a kid, there was something I would be the first one up in the house, and I remember on Sunday morning there was always this TV show called Mass for Shut-ins. Like, what is this show?
Is that real?
It was called Mass for Shut-ins, which I don't think they would call it that anymore.
Because because before Dr. Steve Brule, the Check It Out show.
Yes.
They had the video came up that said Dr. Steve Brule, and then afterwards Mass for Shut-ins.
Yeah.
I always thought that was a joke. I didn't realize
So did
that
I.
was
I didn't really know they had Mass for
That
Shut-ins.
was a thing.
What time in the morning is this?
Oh,
5.
I was going to say like 7 a.m.
See, when I was younger, there was a claymation show called Davy and Goliath.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Oh,
what I
everyone knows
watched
that.
early on Sunday morning.
That was based on true events.
Sure.
That was ripped out of the pages of history. Davy and Goliath.
Yep.
That's right.
I wonder why they were clay. Seems like a long way to go to make Davy and Goliath.
If you're going to sling a stone at a great Philistine, it is much easier to show impact if you have a clay figure as opposed to something else.
Do you think that every episode of Davy and Goliath just ended with him slingshotting someone?
I never watched it. I don't know if it was it a biblical show?
Oh, very much so.
Okay.
There's a scene where Davy actually winds up riding a train. He gets through a confluence of events.
Train in the Bible.
Well,
No, I think John misunderstood you. It is not set in biblical times.
Oh no.
It's a kid in modern times,
Yes.
or their version of modern times, and he's leaning heavily on the Bible. To
Yeah,
get
there's a
him through
biblical
today.
lesson in each episode.
Okay.
That's why it was on Sunday mornings. You see.
Wasn't running a train. That's
No.
Okay.
No, and there's no such thing as running a train because everyone's really the boss there. Everyone's always the boss. There's no. I mean, I guess the person on the receiving end of the train would be the boss because they can dictate the pace and also when to stop the whole affair.
Debatable.
Well, unless it's a crime,
Right.
They should be. So let's hope that that's the case. There is, so that should be interesting. That should be fun.
Okay, Adolfo, 9 o'clock.
Adolfo, 9 o'clock, will be here. Back for the attack. Back using his vacation days.
I can't wait to hear what he's doing, how he's living.
Yeah, what's his career now?
Yeah, all this. I don't want to know anything ahead of time. I'd rather ask him.
I know he's got a job, so I'm aware of what field it's in, but you can feel free to ask him. He seems to be doing well.
Good.
He's on. This is 4 o'clock in the morning his time, and he was up. Says that he gets up early. I guess he gets up early for work, so he will be here.
Oof.
And then Crash will be on tomorrow. It's just like Back to the Future.
Have them both on at the same time.
Yeah.
Crash
yeah.
and Adolfo.
We can have Crash and Adolfo on at the same
Have
time.
Adolfo ask Crash the questions this week.
In fact, that's what we shall do. That's what we'll do.
What could go wrong?
I told Crash that we would try to work out a way to pay him because he already does enough for free with the Atlanta radio, and we'll see how that goes. It just needs to get sponsored.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't. I'm not asking for much from him. He hasn't asked for money, but I just think it would be nice to give him some money considering he's working.
Yeah.
And I mean, it could be $40, but if we could but in order to pay someone $40, you got to like double it or something. There's some rule with the company that if they're going to pay someone to come on, you'll notice that everyone's sponsored that gets paid. So I understand it, and that's just the rule. But I would like it if you own a business and you would like to sponsor Ask Crash, let's just start going hand in hand to people on the radio.
Well, I noticed down the hall when I was walking in this morning, there was a big sheet of paper up on one of the manager's doors there. Did they have a phone jam yesterday? Was yesterday phone jam day?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
that
so
could be. Yeah.
If it continues to today, maybe one of us could go in there and do a little presentation for the salespeople and let them know about a new sponsorship opportunity to talk up with your clients when you're doing your phone jam.
Sure.
I think that I can probably figure it out, but for the people out there, and I guess for me, what is a phone jam?
That's when all the salespeople are supposed to be working. So it's a special couple days a year. Couple days a year, they're like, hey, you freaking salespeople. All right, special day.
We all make phone calls today.
You're going to come into the office. And instead of picking up the phone and taking an order, you're going to call people and ask them to advertise.
Coffee's for closers.
And we're going to feed you like dirty kings and queens. They bring in a food spread for these phone jams, the likes of which you won't see again until Thanksgiving.
So they break even, basically, on the whole affair.
And I don't know what they're jamming, man. If it's $1 a holler or whatever they're selling.
I don't know.
But,
that big piece of paper looked pretty full to me.
Spots are dirty and cheap. Phone jam. Close, you bastards.
ABC always be closing.
Well, apparently they can't.
Close, you slapdicks. Get in here. Close.
Apparently the advertising here at this station is very hard to come by if you're if you're looking for it. So get in while the getting's good.
Well, they do sell out, and I don't think it's cheap compared to other radio stations, but I don't know. There must be like certain chunks of the quarter. This was the Q4 phone jam.
No, but there's other stations. I have a feeling that it was more for the other stations.
What?
Well, it feels like they should have done a phone jam about a month ago. Maybe saved one of those stations.
Yeah.
Instead of
A little late now for the phone jam.
leasing it out to the McLaughlin hour or whatever the hell that crap is down there. By the way, it still shows up at Rock 92.9 on my dash.
Yeah, I'm not fixing that.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Until you get asked.
That's it, Adam.
So that's the most important thing is what it says on the. Well, we wouldn't have Adam if they hadn't flipped that station to Bloomberg Radio. Now on your FM dial you can hear. It's a financial, I would imagine, right? It's a financial situation.
It is. It's the most boring thing you could ever hope to listen to, and I'll sometimes listen to NPR just to feel like I'd like to know what's going on somewhere other than sports.
You pretend you're a cab driver for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I used to listen to the Sunday morning, like religiously, no pun intended. Wait, don't tell me. I love that show, but I haven't listened to it in a while. But I'll tune on. It's very, very boring until I heard this Bloomberg Forbes thing, whatever the hell it is. Wow.
Yeah.
What a snooze.
You just don't get it. You're not knee deep in the market.
I'm not.
So wait, don't tell me's on Sunday mornings.
Used to when I lived in Las Vegas, that's when I listened to it. I would listen to it. We had Pick Up Ultimate on Sunday mornings, and then right after we would finish up, Wait, Don't Tell Me would be on when I was driving home.
So Wait, Don't Tell Me is the only thing on NPR, except for All Things Considered, I've ever heard of. I've never heard it, and it was on dumb Sunday mornings.
It was a big Sunday morning block of programming.
That's an odd time to put your hit programs. Is the time where the least amount of people are listening.
Those godless NPR folks, I don't know.
Oh, I know they're godless, and I know that they're busy getting up to write their Congress people and petition the library to open earlier.
I think it was Wait, Don't Tell Me. What was it? What's the other show? 12 Knows. Wait, Don't Tell Me.
He's listening to Jazz Brunch on whatever station.
And then they would play Ira Glass, This American Life.
That was my first radio gig. Fred was doing the overnight before the Jazz Brunch was on Sunday mornings.
And did you just one day hope that, much like our friend John Gentle,
I would
that you hoped that the guy who did Jazz Brunch would pass so you could take over the show?
There were two guys that did it. It was split into two shifts. There was a 6 to 9 a.m. shift and a 9 to 2 p.m. shift. And the guy who hosted the 6 to 9 a.m. shift would take the train, because this was at WFNX. The radio station was in downtown Lynn. He would take the last train out of Boston on Saturday night, and he would sleep on the futon in the Jock Lounge and then come and do the 6 to 9 a.m. shift. Talk about dedication.
Well, I don't think that sleeping on a sofa was probably new for me. Probably did it at home too. But Mies thinks that he probably thought he was quite intelligent.
He was he was schooled in the jazz intelligence, if that's
No, I have a feeling that he's one of these people that insists on how smart they are, but in everything except for anything that would garner them any kind of success.
Nah, this guy. There were people like that at that radio station, but not this guy. He was cool.
And he did a jazz brunch.
That's right. The early shift, 6 to 9 a.m.
Was he compensated for it?
I believe so.
Train fare?
Yeah, right.
That was paid for? All right, very good. Well, listen, it's exciting times. I had never knew that all those marquee programs were on NPR at the literally worst possible time to have something on.
I don't know if that's when they originally air. That's when I heard it, Fred. But there's a chance when they're taking care of business during the week and doing actual news and stuff that, it was a Sunday show.
You know what I used to listen to on the way in? I used to have to do the Sunday morning in Cumming, Georgia, where there would be preachers. I did Mountain Lakes fishing with Ken Sturdivant. I did the Master Gardener, Daryl Poole. And then there would be guys testifying. And some of them, usually it was just like a rig that was set up in a church, like a Baptist church, but sometimes they would come in. And I've told this story before, but there was a guy who came in and he was talking about being addicted to drugs, da-da-da-da-da. And then he started getting more and more animated and more upset. And I realized he was armed. And he was it wasn't there was a preacher and then a guy. And the guy that was testifying was the guy that was really starting to lose control. And it was just me, obviously, in Cumming, Georgia. And so on the way in, it would be 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. The Motley Fool.
Ah, yes.
I mean, that's how little was on the radio at the time. Nice. The Motley Fool was what I would listen to.
Looks like Wait, Don't Tell Me new episodes air on Saturdays.
Oh.
Does that make you feel better?
No, because that's also a terrible time to be on the radio.
I would argue it's worse.
It very well could be worse because at least you're getting church traffic on Sundays. Let's put it this way. The traffic ain't jammed either day. All right, very good. That is us. That is what we have going on. 2 big football games last night. There's 2 statement games by 2 teams. And the Red Sox and everything else, they played. And there's excitement as they have a 0.3% chance, according to Fangraphs, of making the playoffs. We will have all that for you coming up.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Hey, it's Ryan from 128, and one of the things that keeps our customers coming back is our hassle.
down 2 scores. Now all of a sudden it's a problem. And that's, I think, the dilemma that he faced. Like, he's got to open it up a little bit more. And I think what he fears is I can't do that with Drake May right now.
Dulac and Bertrand, weekday mornings at 10 on the Sports Hub.
It's called Rising and Grinding.
Start your
Got your finger on the pulse, Fred.
Begin your
Seldom
day
right and never wrong.
right here. Is that Toucher or is that Target?
Kinda looks like a poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
Did you catch the game last night?
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. Be listening at 6:50 for your chance to score a pair of vouchers for the Friday session of Harpoon Brewery's 34th annual Oktoberfest. Live Oompa music. Does that involve big butts, John?
I don't think so.
It sounds like it should.
It should, considering the music, but historically speaking, I don't believe that's the case.
Instead of booties clapping, it could be booties ooping.
I had a friend of mine who went to the big one in Germany. He was FaceTiming
Oktoberfest.
me. And Oktoberfest. And he was FaceTiming me, and I didn't see any large ladies there.
Yeah. Did he have lederhosen on?
Yes,
because
yes,
you
he
absolutely had to wear lederhosen. How often did he talk about it before he went?
Many times.
Like an obnoxious amount of times, and then you went, why would you say something this embarrassing over and over and over again?
You're welcome.
Oompa music is, by the way, played by little people. Oompa Loompa music.
Yeah. That's where they got the name.
That's true. Stein hosting competitions, pretzel eating contests, and more will be waiting for you at their largest festival of the year. Grab your tickets now at harpoonbrewery.com.
So Rusty hooked up with that girl at an Oktoberfest, like a real one. And she undid the top of her outfit there and just unleashed him. As somebody once said, dumped him out. And I don't know that he I don't know that he had seen them before.
Shakespeare.
I don't know that he had seen them before, but he was so excited and he's just laughing. He's got those weird space teeth with the braces going on, but she didn't care. She's like, "You're a visitor in my country. Look at my yabos and let's get after it." Yeah. And I think they did, but I think it got cut short because his dad was getting into it.
It did get cut short, but yeah, because in a very bad movie, but they really did. They said, Clark, you're going to have unattractive children in that movie.
Yeah.
He said that both your kids are going to be. And how did Audrey, right?
Audrey.
How did Audrey get the guy from Just One of the Guys in the Karate Kid? He was a hunk.
Yeah. Well, I think we know how she did it.
But that was suburban Illinois.
But she was willing to do things that other girls weren't.
Well, I don't. That was not in part of the backstory, but we'll see.
Well, you have to create your own backstories sometimes.
That is true. We have the power of imagination. All right. There was so much going on last night.
Oh, yeah. Now, so what do you do? It's Monday Night Football. You got 2 games on. You have to decide at some point, which one do you watch? Now, going into those 2 matchups last night, which seemed like the more compelling of the 2, Wallach? Was it the Jaguars and Bills, or was it the Bengals and the Commanders?
Cincinnati and Washington.
Yeah, I think maybe that one, but I certainly...
No, I thought Jacksonville and Buffalo was the intriguing one. Jacksonville was 0-2. Buffalo was 2-0. Jacksonville's playing for their season. Joe Murray had picked Jacksonville in the game, as I heard, as I was driving around last night.
Well, one started before the other by about 45 minutes, but then the decision was made for us pretty early on.
Outraced his defender across the back of the end zone, and Allen hit him with a laser.
Josh Allen to Dalton Kincaid made it 12-0 there in the first quarter, and boy, they weren't done on the defensive side of the ball either.
Here's the snap, fakes the handoff, going to roll to his left, has time, throws deep over the middle, he overshoots Thomas, intercepted by DeMar Hamlin, coming the other way to the 45 as he races to the far sideline and is tackled at the 41-yard line by Farrell. It's an INT and another takeaway for the Buffalo defense. This time, DeMar Hamlin.
DeMar Hamlin's first career interception. Did you know that?
Yes, I did know that.
And because they asked, what's his face during the halftime, the coach of the Bills, they said, "What did you? How much does it mean to you that DeMar Hamlin got this interception?" But obviously, DeMar Hamlin on a Monday night game almost died, and Sean McDermott looked at her like, "Well, What do you mean? What did it mean to me? I'm trying to win a football game here.
Yeah.
We're up very big at the half.
Buffalo scored touchdowns on their first 5 drives.
Yeah. Jacksonville's not good. I have a feeling that they might fire Doug Peterson. Call me crazy. And,
did you see online the Bill Belichick to Jacksonville rumors that everyone was trying to start?
Well, somebody is Pro Football Talk said putting Bill Belichick on the short list or adding the Jacksonville Jaguars to the list of possible Belichick 2025 destinations.
So I've just handed Trevor Lawrence all this money, and what I'm going to do is bring in Bill Belichick to coach him up. He's obviously regressed into nothing. So I'm going to take Bill Belichick and go, you work with this kid.
Yeah, the quarterback guru.
Yeah, the quarterback.
Belichick.
Yeah, because Lord knows. And then, but you can depend on him to bring in a real top-notch OC. I wonder what defensive coordinator or basketball coach he'll bring in to work with him this time.
What's Rob Ryan doing? Can he go down there and be the OC?
Yeah, exactly. Or better yet, like, what's the coach of the Revolution 2 times ago going to do? Maybe he can coach the offense.
Bruce Arena?
Yeah, whatever. I don't
Bruce
care.
Bruce Arena would probably be a pretty good coach.
Yeah, the joke is that it's not someone. Listen. If Shad Khan wants to do it, he's the one who gave all the money to Trevor Lawrence. I guess they didn't have a choice. But that's that weird purgatory where you drafted the kid, he's shown promise, and you can't get rid of him.
5
so
years.
you got to pay him. And San Francisco's in the same slot.
5 years, $275 million.
And that's the thing is that, like, if you're Purdy, and, you know, Purdy's been fine. Purdy's not the reason that San Francisco's losing games. But if you're Purdy, like, and I go into the negotiations because they have to sign him this offseason, what are you going to say? Like, oh, I was the last pick in the draft, so don't pay me? You're going to want it too. So the thing is that they had to pay Trevor Lawrence, so I don't blame the organization for it. I blame the NFL for putting an organization in Jacksonville.
They are stuck based on what I'm seeing here. Jacksonville can't get out from under that contract for 3 more years after this one.
And everyone, and listen, from everything I've read, he's never probably going to be as good as the slot he was drafted in or the amount of hype surrounding him. Because remember, he was a can't-miss guy.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the first can't-miss guy that I can recall missing this badly. Because Andrew Luck, John Elway, Peyton Manning, those are can you guys think of another can't-miss guy?
He was compared to Luck. He was compared to Manning when coming out of college.
Yeah, Luck, Manning, Elway. If I'm missing someone, and not number 1 overall picks in the draft, like generational talents.
Yeah.
Because Burrow was borderline, but not in that class. Like, remember how good Trevor Lawrence was as a freshman?
Yeah, Burrow had that one big year, but everyone knew about Lawrence during his sophomore season.
And Burrow transferred from Ohio State to LSU, so there was a bunch of stuff. I don't recall a can't-miss kid. If you know, then please inform me. I'm not saying that I'm the be-all, end-all on this. I mean, Mitchell Trubisky did go 1 for 1 last night when he took over for Josh Allen.
The best part of that Jacksonville game for me is when they brought in Mac Jones. They finally benched Lawrence, and they brought in Mac Jones. And did you see his first play?
Why would I have been watching his first play?
I didn't either. I saw it in retrospect.
I saw it this morning. I didn't see it last night.
No, okay, very good because
I didn't say live. I just wanted to know if you were aware of what had happened.
Yeah, I didn't feel the need to stay up for these things last night.
I
know that the Washington game was good, but that's me needs my sleep.
No,
right,
but Mac Jones, the backup quarterback in Jacksonville, enters the game and. Hardy, do you have the clip there, or are you just aware of what happened?
Let me see if I can grab it here. I didn't go that far into the game.
Mac Jones lost 17 yards and was strip sacked. First passing attempt.
Yeah, he's not good.
I'm just amazed.
But then there's another clip of him online, so they let him stay in.
Of course. What else are you going to do? You're already down a billion.
I don't know. You go to your third string.
You're down 5 touchdowns. What difference does it make?
There was another pass that he threw that was maybe the worst pass I've seen him throw, short of the one against the Colts in Germany. The one where he shorted the guy in the end zone, where he had a touchdown. Yeah. It was out to the flat. It was over to his left, so a little more difficult. Threw it across his body a little bit, but he missed the guy by 6 feet, and he was standing all alone. It wasn't. It was like one of those screens that we saw him like just dump into the ground or put on the back shoulder as opposed to the front. But this one, You'll see it. It's there. It's just he can't play.
Yeah,
He can't play.
Bring in Belichick, the guy that developed Mac Jones, to go take over for Trevor Lawrence. Oh boy, is that dumb. Bill Belichick's not getting another coaching job.
Dallas may be dumb. Dallas may hire him.
But I don't think Jerry Jones is dumb. That's the thing, is that Jerry Jones hasn't won since, the 90s, but his roster is good.
Yeah, I know, but that's the rule of thumb for Jones, and this is why we were talking about Belichick at the end of last season, is that Dallas does have a Super Bowl-ready roster, and they are wildly underachieving under this guy McDaniel. So why not bring in this guy who doesn't want to wait around to rebuild anything?
Because
bring him in and we'll win.
Because he's a dick, and I just thought of this, how did Parcells work out for Jerry Jones?
His roster when Parcells took
no.
over wasn't as good.
But I'm not saying that Parcells is a great coach. I'm not saying he isn't. But how did Jerry Jones and him did not get along? They didn't win a Super Bowl. I would just think that, and you look at Jerry Jones's track record since then, he's likes kind of beta dudes that he brings in, and he let him hang around.
Right.
I think the days of bringing in an old alpha guy are gone. And Belichick's doesn't have he's just done it here, which is fine because he stayed for a long time. But Parcells at least had a track record of going in and cleaning things up. Go ahead.
I think the difference is now that Jones is a lot older.
Yeah, but he's won his Super Bowl.
No, I know that. But again, he's spending all of this money, and you just re-signed two key components of your roster. They are underachieving. The roster, when everyone's healthy, is you can go real deep into the playoffs with this roster. And Jones, it's been a long time since he's won now. It's been about 30 years since he's won.
Who are the best coaches in the NFL right now? Let's do this exercise. Who are the best coaches in the NFL right now?
Andy Reid.
Harbaugh, Jim, not John. I'm sorry, John, not Jim.
Okay, who has won with the least amount of talent?
Dan Campbell.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, Dan Campbell's got a ton of talent. The Lions team's loaded.
He's still got Jared Goff at quarterback.
Jared Goff went to a Super Bowl.
Okay.
And he's good. I mean, and I don't think that Dan Campbell's coaching that offense very much. I know he's a tight end.
Consistency, Andy Reid, John Harbaugh. I mean, if you want to throw Tomlin in there, who always does more with less.
See, I would make the argument that Sean McVay is the best coach in the NFL. That Sean McVay has done more with less. That Sean McVay won a game this Sunday, and I know it's just recency bias, with missing half his roster. I mean, so my point is that, Andy Reid's an offensive guy too, is that, and Tomlin coaches for the Steelers, which takes it out of they have had literally, 3 coaches over the last
McVay had
50
that
years?
terrible year after the Rams won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they traded all those first-round draft picks to bring him all that talent that he won a Super Bowl with.
No, but I think that he's widely considered, him and Shanahan, the best coaches in football. I just don't know if you want to bring in an old defensive coach. Old defensive coach.
Oh.
At that point. It doesn't seem like a recipe for success.
I don't know what you guys talked about at the time when we were having this discussion, probably a little less than a year from now, about it seemed obvious that Belichick was not going to stay, that he had to go. Where is he going to go? Teams are going to be lined up. And I said, I don't know that they are. Like, who is going to take Belichick right now? And we didn't even get into the whole he's got to take over the the GM position as well. I just mean as a coach. What team out there would absolutely say, boom, that's my guy. That's going to be the one to turn it around. Based on what?
Yes, and I said the same thing, is that he's old, he can't grow with your team, and there's no guarantee he's going to win anything.
Right, and that first one, Fred, is a huge component of it. It's like, you're going to bring a guy in here to, jumpstart everything. What, for 3 years? And then he's going to tell you to go screw because he's done, because he's old and he wants to quit?
And also,
wants to retire?
Can he relate to current players? That's another thing that I think is a very valid thing to think about.
Uh-huh.
I mean, again, like McVay, Shanahan, McDaniel, and I know Miami's not winning, but I'm just telling you guys that have been hired, like Mayo, like these dudes are younger, much younger than me, younger and personable, and the good relationships with the players. And we've talked about this. We've talked about this a ton. Everyone has. Ex-players, everybody. You saw it in the first week of the season. The team stopped playing for Belichick. It didn't stop playing for Belichick because they were losing. They stopped playing for Belichick for seasons because it wasn't working anymore. And the message, look, you have to adapt. You have to evolve. If you're doing the same radio show in 2024 that you were doing in 2006, you're going to get fired because the mores has changed and taboos have changed and evolved. Like you have to do it. If you told me, first of all, here's the thing. If you told me I'm Belichick, I can bring Belichick in and I'm a college, I'd bring him in 10 seconds. If you said, just to establish my program, because I think that he could recruit with NIL money and his reputation just based on that, and I think he could be a very good college coach. If you told me I could bring him as a defensive coordinator, I'd pay him as much as my head coach. But I'm not going to let him lead my franchise under any circumstance.
There's a very limited amount of teams. Maybe Dallas, Philadelphia. These are teams we talked about last year that would give him a chance.
You should hear those Philadelphia fans.
Oh, I'm sure. They're all on board.
I was completely unaware when we did the show yesterday about how Sirianni almost blew that game by trying a 61-yard field goal. He really screwed up. He did about 3 unexplainable things during that game. I kind of hope that Belichick gets the Philadelphia job and let him bask in that fan base.
Yeah. One more thing on the Bills game last night. Josh Allen was asked afterward about a certain king who was tweeting either at him or about him during the game. Did you hear about this?
I did not.
I've been wearing LeBron's cleats, the Fruity Pebbles at practice for that reason. I'm a big fan of his, and coming from him, one of the greatest, if not the greatest NBA basketball player of all time, I think that's pretty cool.
What was coming from LeBron James? Well, let me tell you.
You know what? Those cleats are on San Francisco beaches.
At 8:21 p.m. last night, LeBron James tweeted, "I really like watching Josh Allen play football!" ! Football emoji.
Ha!
Can you get CTE playing basketball? It's almost cruel that he has this kind of...
I really like watching Josh Allen play football. Football emoji.
He's the Magic Johnson of basketball. Oh. All right. We'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
Patriots' next game is Sunday against San Francisco on the West Coast. Well, yesterday the team was back out at practice. Hunter Henry and defensive back Alex Austin were missing, along with Jawan Bentley, Verdarian Lowe, and Sidney So. 2 starting offensive linemen were back out there. Red Sox got 2 RBIs from Cedon Rafaela. They won in Toronto last night 4-1. They got 5 games left. They visit the Jays again tonight. And the Bruins will play preseason game number 2 tonight at TD Garden against the Washington Capitals. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers bring you this one free of charge at 7 o'clock right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7 o'clock.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Grab your lederhosen and bring your friends to Harpoon Oktoberfest on Friday, October 4th and Saturday, October 5th. Celebrate with brewery fresh beers, OOPA and rock bands, and more at the Harpoon Brewery in the Seaport. Visit harpoon.com for tickets and info.
If it's big and it's heavy and it's gotta go, who do you call? Removal Pro, yeah.
When your home or business needs an oil tank of any size removed or installed, go with the Removal Pro. It will also remove any size boiler, furnace, or water heater, and even excavate and replace propane tanks. Visit oilremovalpro.com. That's oilremovalpro.com.
Who do you call?
Hatebreed 30th Anniversary Tour coming to Citizens House of Blues on Friday, September 27th. Don't miss your chance to see Hatebreed with support by Carcass, Harm's Way, and more. Live Friday, September 27th at Citizens House of Blues. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com.
Hey, it's Zoe for the Albrecht Auto Group, and if you need a new ride, you'll get respect at Albrecht. They took great care of me once again, and I'm fired up to tell you I'm back with them. And when I picked up my new vehicle a few weeks back, not only because I'm me, but because they've treated all their customers that way for more than 46 years. So, if you're in the hunt for a Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Infiniti, Nissan, or Toyota, whether it's new or pre-owned, you'll find the vehicle that you're looking for at a fair price at Albrecht's 7 locations. Connect with your next car or truck or SUV at albrechttauto.com. Tell them Zoe sent you.
So are you this person? You're leaving those store-bought reading glasses all over the house, maybe in the car. You can't read a restaurant menu. You can't see your golf ball. The font on your phone is so big, your kid can read it from across the room. Are you just at wit's end with your vision? Well, Boston Vision has great news for you. They have many options to correct your reading, intermediate, and distance problems with vision correction. Come find out what procedure is right for your vision. Book a free evaluation online today at bostonvision.com and start down your path to visual freedom. Boston Vision has locations in Brookline, Wellesley, Medford, Andover, and Milford. Because your best vision is Boston Vision.
I'm Mark Trissy, president of Jackson Lumber and Millwork. Your kitchen is the heart of your home. For a beautiful new kitchen design just for you, visit Jackson Kitchen Designs.
Your kitchen is a gathering space for family and friends, and you deserve a kitchen design that meets your unique needs. Our designers will create a beautiful kitchen that incorporates your ideas and fits your lifestyle and budget.
That's my sister, Lisa Tersey, manager at Jackson Kitchen Designs.
We offer a fantastic starter cabinet line, as well as
with Tuncher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Is this Idols? It is. They're at Roadrunner tonight. I wish I was going to the show.
Why aren't you going?
Because I work mornings now, and I get very sleepy if I stay out late on a school night.
All right.
I got a text here from Brian Bell. Said Belichick can relate to the younger players. He can walk up to him and say, "Hey, we should go on a double date." My girl.
It's almost unfair because they'll be lost in all the philosophical discussions as they fell in love over their mutual love of philosophy.
It might actually be awkward because Belichick's girlfriend is probably a lot younger than some of the player wives and girlfriends, so maybe it wouldn't be such a good match.
Again, what's funny to me is not so much. It is funny to me that he's with someone who's 24 years old because he's who he is. He was old when he was young. What's funny to me, I'm not going to do it, but what he's trying to stop it. You're trying to encourage me is what you're doing. It's that they are in love over their mutual love of philosophy. If you don't know, this is what's coming out is that.
Oh, I haven't heard this. What?
Yeah. They were on a plane together, and she was sitting next to him, and he saw that she had a textbook. By the way, this was not, 25 years ago. This was a couple years ago, but yet she had a textbook. Remember, your kids are all in school. How many textbooks they have with them?
They don't tote around the books as much as they used to.
No, my kids have. Let me see, 0. They have a laptop that's given to them or rented them by the school. There's no such thing as textbooks anymore. But there she was with her trusty textbook, and he said, "Well, philosophy," and they got along like old friends. And he couldn't believe her intelligence. He was blown away with it. And she said, when he goes, "What do you do with all this intelligence?" And she goes, "Well, I competitive cheerleader." And he went, "Oh, that makes sense," as all the great philosophers were.
Yeah.
Just say that you wanted to bang a younger chick. That's all you got to do. And she's kind of strange. She's got like that in this aspect of her life. She likes old dudes. In old dudes that seem old.
Do you know what he wrote on the inside of the textbook?
I just fill me in.
Jordan, thanks for giving me a course on logic. Safe travels.
And
Signed February 11th, 2021.
Is there a phone number there?
That's all it says.
Yeah, because he gave her his phone number too, which was based entirely because if he was next to you or I and we had that same book, the same conversation would absolutely take place.
Sure.
Oh God, I love that he's doing that. Bill Belichick, who seemed ancient 40 years ago. Again, I can understand almost if you're a young lady or a man for a man for that matter, liking someone older because they even that old. If they were like this sophisticant, they were an art dealer or something that was traipsing around the world and wore designer tuxes and smoked with a cigar or with like a cigarette handle and all these things. Like if they were some like incredibly impressive bon vivant, I could see that if you're just being impressed and swept away with all of that, but not by someone who seems like my dad. Like in a dickier version of my dad. And my dad's no charming yet man. Like Bill Belichick comes off as more of a dick than my dad. And that's very difficult.
That's tough to do.
That's tough to do. I love my dad, but he's not a vivacious personality.
We have more Bill Belichick to get to at 7:00, so we will we'll do that then. We got to.
Yeah, there's ring cameras from all over the world.
Oh, sweet. There's more analysis from Bill that we'll get to, but we.
What's the logic of this camera? That's what I want to know.
That's what logic I have in this thing.
Which way is the canvas?
Last night there was another football game. We haven't even mentioned yet the contest between the Washington Commanders and the Cincinnati Bengals. Jaden Daniels in at quarterback for the visitors.
First and goal at the 4. B-Rob gets a handoff right up the middle. No, Daniels keeps it. Scoots into the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown, Washington! Jaden Daniels again!
And that was the one thing I thought about Jaden Daniels. I'm like, he's so slight. I don't know if he's going to be able to get through the line and get into the... Oh, sure, he could do it in college against smaller defensive lines. No, he's not afraid to do it. I don't know how long it's going to last.
He played in the SEC. I'm not positive if Georgia has a smaller defensive line than most NFL teams.
Not Georgia, but some of the other teams he played. No, one of the highlight reels in particular showed him in a game. And he was like, look at him getting through the line here. I'm like, yeah, against 220-pound defensive linemen.
Did he scoot? like he did on that play. Look at him scooting on in that end zone.
Look at him scooting.
You scoot. Look at you. You just shake it and scoot in there. I wonder what his celebration's going to be. It's probably going to be a real humdinger.
Guy's got an arm, though, too. Oof.
They got to snap it on a 3rd and 7, and they do. Bengals bring the house. Jaden loads one up for McLaurin in the end zone. Did he catch it? He did. Touchdown.
Oh, my God, this guy. All right. Calm down.
Jesus.
Yeah,
it's the Joker.
And yesterday was the guy playing with gold. This is just guys blue velvet in it. This is just
Trent, so it was awesome.
Whoa, hey, easy.
Get ready. You know what's going to be exciting is to hear how all the other quarterbacks taken in the draft are huge busts, and Jaden Daniels is by far the greatest quarterback of all time.
I now own all of Gotham.
Now, Fred, you got it. That's pretty cool. Heineken. Pabst Blue Ribbon.
It's just a guy huffing nitrous and talking about life. Why are they not fired today? How'd they get home on the team plane? They should have just had him walk home. Or I didn't know. Was that? Oh, that was in Washington.
That particular play was worthy of a reaction. Now, was it worthy of?
That is the equivalent of Grandy of sobbing during his last game of the season.
I don't know how you managed to bring it up in this instance, but it had been a couple of days.
Because if the idea that not everyone is talking about this is fascinating to me. In fact, the next time we have Ryan Johnston on, I want him to give us his plan for if the Bruins win the Stanley Cup, to how he's going to make it all about himself.
Yeah.
This was a great ride. It was my first year as a broadcaster of the team. Bob, I love you. Okay. All right. I mean, it's going to be on my tombstone. Ryan Johnston, the Bruins play-by-play guy. Ugh.
No, Max was just like, okay, easy, buddy.
No, Max came on the air and told us, you'll notice I didn't say I love you back.
Right. He didn't say anything in the moment, but Bob Beers might just punch him out. If you tried that with Bob in the booth.
That's true.
Or I don't know if Bob would care enough to punch him. I think Bob would just be like, this is over.
Jaden Daniels, by the way, his first career touchdown pass did not go to McLaurin or another wide receiver, went to an offensive lineman.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. Clifton called the play, kind of low in the shot clock, so getting the guys set, getting them going. When they were all discombobulated on defense, so we got a sneaky one to Trent, so it was awesome for him and also for me.
He said something that just rubbed me a tiny bit the wrong way. He said, years from now, that's going to be a great trivia question. Who did my first touchdown pass go to? I'm like, easy years from now, the trivia. That's your best case scenario is that the trivia has to do with who your first touchdown pass went to, as opposed to what was his one good year.
He didn't throw a touchdown pass in the first 2 games.
No, he ran for a couple, but didn't throw any.
No.
Everyone's wetting themselves over him this much? Okay.
He had a great game last
night. No, I know he did.
Yeah, but the next sentence I was going to say is that's all it was. He's better than any other rookie quarterback right now, but there's a long way to go.
And nobody's wetting themselves over
him. You were being sarcastic because I was like, you obviously haven't listened to anything today. And he could be great. What do I know? And I never said he wasn't going to be. There's just going to be this narrative that Caleb Williams sucks. By the way, Jaden Daniels threw the ball 23 times, and this is more of a credit to Washington. I believe Caleb Williams threw the ball 50 times in his game. Like, there's a slight difference in the quality of coaching, I believe, going on in Washington. Boy, are they glad lucky they got a new owner. Caller number 10 to the contest line, 617-931-0985, will win a pair of vouchers for the Friday session of Harpoon Brewery's 34th annual Oktoberfest live Oompa music, Stein hoisting competitions, pretzel eating contests, and more will be waiting for you at their largest festival of the year. Grab your tickets now at harpoonbrewery.com, and maybe if you bring your logic and philosophy textbooks in, you can meet a old fat guy. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Bill Belichick, that old fat guy, is making the rounds, and he is talking about people and putting teams down. We will talk about that in just a moment.
Toucher and Hardy. It's an all-new season for the Patriots. Wow. And you'll hear it all right here.
Yes.
Your home of the past. 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
After taking the previous 3 days off following a Thursday evening game, the Patriots had their players out on the field for a rare in-season Monday practice yesterday. Along with Juwan Bentley, tight end Hunter Henry, and defensive back Alex Austin were missing. The next game is during the late window on Sunday against San Francisco. Josh Allen threw 4 touchdown passes in the first half. The Bills ran over Jacksonville 47-10 in Buffalo. Buffalo is now 3-0. Also, the Washington Commanders scored a big upset win in Cincinnati, 38-33. Zach Taylor's team played from behind for most of the evening.
I knew that was going to be a difficult football team. I saw what they did last week on offense. They scored on every possession last week. They scored on every possession this week. So I knew that was a dangerous team. They were ready for us, and they made more plays than we did today. You got to give them a ton of credit.
Bengals are now 0-3. The Red Sox got a pair of RBIs from Cedar Rafaela. They won in Toronto last night 4-1. The Sox have 5 games left. They need to win 3 of them to finish over 500 for the season. They finish the Jays again tonight. The Bruins will play preseason game number 2 this evening at TD Garden against the Washington Capitals. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers bring you this one free of charge at 7 o'clock here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. And in college news, the Pac-12 Conference continues to rebuild. Utah State, the latest school to join as a full member. Gonzaga is reportedly in talks to join the conference as a basketball-only participant. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by East Coast Metal Roofing, the official roofing partner of the Boston Celtics. Mention 98.5 The Sports Hub and get 10% off your new roof. Visit eastcoastmetalroofing.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
To us, Boston pride runs deep.
I'm a Bostonian.
This is Boston's home for sports.
Bow, bow, bow.
98.5 The Sports Hub. Dutcher and Hardy, the reviews are in.
I got to say, I don't want to talk about you. Give me about 5 minutes of my time.
What he said. Now more of on the Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Dutcher and Hardy. We are those sportsbook make every moment more with FanDuel. You can watch us on YouTube. Go search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. We're on live. And you can call 617-779-0985. Hardy, what's going on?
I'm sorry, just double checking my fading of Kendra's bets from last week, one and both. Okay, forgot about that. Double check.
What were the bets that you faded?
I even parlayed one of them. I had the Bills and Commanders last night. I believe she went oppo on both of those.
Oh, she took Jacksonville. Go figure.
Oh, of course she did.
Yeah.
No, actually, you know what? I take that back. She did have the Raven. I think her 2 big picks were the Ravens and Jacksonville. So I did bet the Cowboys. Wow, was that dumb? Although came close.
Yeah,
came real close.
A late run.
Yeah, they were getting 1.5. Had they kicked those extra points,
I know.
They would have lost by 1.
Yeah, but people are killing Andy Reid for kicking field goals. So
I might be wrong on my Buffalo as a third-place team theory.
Well, I didn't think they were going to be as good either.
Incorrect in that assumption.
No.
That was
It's going to come down to it's a two-horse race, baby. By the way, if you're the Patriots, again, you got to love what's going on in the AFC. I mean, you have a chance to have your season be sort of relevant until much longer, with Cincinnati being 0-3, the Ravens being 1-2. I mean, there's like a lot of stuff going on.
Talk about
Miami being 1-2.
I mean, San Francisco is a shell of themselves at the moment. They're still probably good enough to win by double digits, but
I don't know. Their defense sucks.
Well,
if you can run the ball against them,
and then you have Miami the next week without Tua, and probably without this kid Skylar Thompson coming here in week 5.
Am I the only one who? What do I hear every time someone says Tua now? What do I hear in my brain? What do I automatically think of? Is this happening to anyone else?
Tua.
Yeah, the Hawk Tua girl.
Oh.
The Hawk Tua girls really take. Kendra texted me and said I did not bet Jacksonville. So shut up, Hardy.
How she's listening? Where she's listening in Buffalo?
Of course, everyone's listening.
Well,
okay.
She left that game last night probably at halftime and probably got to bed early. So yeah, she's up early listening now.
She has a job. Maybe perhaps she's driving back. It's not a fun drive.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I've never done it.
7 hours.
Yeah, get on an airplane.
6.5, 7.
All right.
I do love placing bets because I don't take it seriously. I do treat it strictly as either entertainment or just like a whim, and I don't bet a lot either. But every once in a while that happens. I'm like, oh yeah, I think I laid some bets last night. I couldn't even remember, and I did a parlay. I did the Commanders and the Bills. I'm like, oh, that was fun. Yeah,
Found money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little padding of the account today.
That's why he's playing so fast and loose on the air today. You don't need this job anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He hit himself that Monday night parlay. All right. Bill Belichick, was he on this? What was he on? Which one of these things was it? His friend, which loser friend was it? Was it Jim Gray? Was it Matt Patricia? Was it Pat McAfee? Which one of these losers was he on?
This is McAfee.
Oh, good.
All right. So Pat McAfee, was he standing up with a wife beater on during this?
I see him with a black T-shirt on. I see the super close-up of A.J. Hawk. And I see Bill Belichick even more of a close-up. Oh, Jesus. And again, I'm not watching it. If you're doing a Zoom, you're doing a Skype show, you're doing anything like that, I am not going to watch it. I'm not going to watch it. If you're going to ask me to watch your TV program, you have to do a real TV program. You can't have people on remote with computer cameras set up and tell me it's a TV show and ask me to watch it. You can ask, but I'm not going to.
What is A.J. Hawk got going that he cannot leave where he is? He cannot make the trip to the McAfee studios, which I imagine are in Indianapolis.
He's got a bunch of books behind him, I see.
Yeah. They're just dummies that hold guns.
And Belichick is in front of one of these
he's in front of a Socrates statue.
he's got one of the the cabinets with artifacts and knickknacks in the background. I see a folded flag right over his right shoulder.
That's right, because of course he is fond of the military. Was he in it? No,
sure.
He was just fond of it. Boy, I don't like him. I really don't like him.
I had not gleaned that from your commentary.
He's such a phony. I'm a little man, but here's thanks for teaching me about logic. Okay. Just say oh, you're hot and young and paying attention to me. That's why I would. I mean,
thanks for being young and hot and paying attention to me.
Yeah. Thanks for being young and hot and just damaged enough to pay attention to me. That's what I should thank you.
Write that in your book.
Again,
that's how.
If this was back in the day and they were on the Concorde, and there was a guy with a pencil thin mustache and a tuxedo, or an Armani suit sitting next to her, telling her about how he just had dinner with the royalty in Morocco, I can understand being swept away by that, by an old fat guy that is by all accounts a prick. I don't understand really how you get swept up in all of that, but there you go. All right, so here he is. He's talking about the great Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, who, don't close the book on Trevor Lawrence. Don't close the book on any of these guys, because you put them in a good situation and they could thrive. Again, and I was just reading about another guy. I mean, it's happening all the time now. Second chances, Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield. These guys are all thriving in different situations. And so, give them a break. And Sam Darnold, who always had the skills. And I said it yesterday, I'll say it again. The one thing I always heard the people that covered the Jets, because the Jets ruined Geno Smith and Sam Darnold. They couldn't get either of them to work. And now they're thriving other places. The Jets are a terrible organization. But everything I heard, the only time that New York media, and we would have them on all the time, was uniform about something was that Sam Darnold was getting a bad rep, that he's intelligent, that he was physically gifted, and he had the size. Everyone loved him. and thought he was getting a bum rap and that it wasn't fair. And, when he said I was seeing ghosts, they felt bad for him because they were like, oh, this is going to haunt him and it's not his fault. How many lesser quarterbacks have gotten a bigger break than him? And by the way, he's younger than Mayfield. I believe he's younger than Josh Allen. He's the same age. I just read it. He's the same age as I'll give you it. Well,
Darnold's 27.
Yeah, but in comparison to other quarterbacks, I can tell you what it is in a minute. But his age, it would impress you. All right, here we go. Here is Bill Belichick on the Pat McAfee show talking about Sam Darnold and the logic behind his doing well as it relayed to him by his 24-year-old girlfriend.
I don't think anybody's looking past Minnesota, not that they were before, but I don't think anybody's looking past them now. It'll be interesting to see how they can sustain this. I've always said that it's a lot easier to get to the top than it is to stay on top. And
I believe Foreigner said the same thing. I believe AC/DC said that it's a long way to the top.
If you want to rock and roll. If you don't want to rock and roll, it's not that long of a way to the top.
Eddie Trunk is in Japan, but fear not, he taped some shows. Top 5 AC/DC albums. Anyone care to venture the top 3, which I recall?
Oof. Back in Black has
It's
got to be
number
up
3.
there. Number 3.
It's number 3.
For those about to rock.
Don't discount it. For those about to rock forward. Don't discount it because it's popular. A lot of people tend to do that. Black and Back was 3.
High voltage.
Trunk's going to put Highway to Hell at 1. He's going to.
You're absolutely correct.
Yep.
And Powerage is number 2. And he goes through the track listing, and I'm like, I've never heard one of those songs.
He's a Bon Scott guy through and through.
Oh, he's a Bon Scott guy. He only had one Brian Johnson album in the top 5.
Never mind that Back in Black is just one of the best rock and roll records any band ever. Yeah, it's up there with Appetite for Destruction. Whether you care for the band or not, you just have to recognize, there, you touched the sun.
When I was a kid and I first bought Back in Black, which was not 1980, it was well past that. In 1980, I was 5. But when I first got Back in Black, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe all these songs are on one album.
Yes.
Like, it's like insanely
It's
good.
insane.
And the idea that when Brian Johnson made that record, boy, we're all over the place. But when Brian Johnson made that record, you remember Bon Scott had died, and they flew him to California, and they rushed him through it. Like Mutt Lange rushed him through making the record. Then they put him on a plane and flew him back to London, and he sat around for 5 weeks, and then they finally sent him the album. We're like, all right, we're going on tour. He was such a temporary, such a non-factor in it. He said he never heard mixes. He never heard anything. He went and did the album and flew back to London and had a vinyl roofing business that he went back. He owned it, but went back and ran his vinyl roofing business. And while Back in Black he had done the vocals already. Maybe a top 5. It's definitely a top 5 selling album of all time. And that guy's doing vinyl roofing, and that's an established band. They weren't, but I guess they were in big financial problems. All right, so there's your lesson on Back in Black.
The teams and the players that everybody's pointing for every week, that everybody's got targeted, when those teams and those players can continue to excel week after week, even though they're facing that type of targeting, from their opponents, that those are the measures of, the great players and the real champions. So probably their opponents coming up in the future are saying, hey, this is how we measure our program, is how do we do against.
This is how you can tell that he was a coach, this analysis. If you're really good, the teams pay attention that you're really good.
That is maybe the best breakdown of any football thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. But you could really tell that when everyone said he had a great personality behind the scenes, what they were talking about.
Well, now it's coming through.
It's shining through his humor and his analysis.
Right now, probably one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the league. But I'll say this. Everybody has liked Darnold except the Jets. The people at Carolina that I talked to, they really liked him. He was, at the Rams, and not for very long. They liked him. I think they want to re-sign him. He was looking for more of an opportunity than to play behind Stafford. And then, I know that Kevin and some of the coaches in Minnesota, they really like this guy too. So it seemed like the only people that didn't like Darnold were at the Jets.
Yeah, he doesn't like the Jets, and the Jets ruined him. But I will tell you this: if Carolina liked him so much, why isn't Gary the quarterback at Carolina?
I know.
I mean, that. Again, he's a great football coach and terrible guest.
Darnold is the number 2 rated passer in the NFL at the moment.
And when Darnold never played for the Rams, he didn't have to sit behind Stafford.
Oh, he never played for the Rams?
No, I double-checked it. Someone said that. I'm like, where did he go? He went to the 49ers.
Oh, so
he did not go to the Rams.
Maybe that's
and have
why
to sit behind Stafford.
Maybe that's why the Patriots sucked the last few years. Is that he's losing his marbles. And again, Fred, you make mistakes all the time. Yeah, but I'm kind of just a goofy moron.
Yeah, nobody.
I'm not on for my expertise.
Well, exactly. Nobody has ever confused you with a football expert or somebody with an encyclopedic knowledge of the league and the history of it. So
no, I'm an everyman. I apologize. If you're a big Belichick fan, you probably hate me right now, but I can't help it.
What are the odds that's the only thing they hate about you? There's a lot of stuff, so there's just one more thing. It's no big deal.
I can't envision anything else off the top of my head. It's really, I think, my only flaw is my irrational hatred of Bill Belichick. Because what else do I hate? What else do I badmouth?
Randy's final call of the championship game. You hate that.
Okay, 2 things. All right, very good. Tara Sullivan, I do not hate, and I do believe that her and I are the lone voices calling for something. 2 great minds. Tara Sullivan and I. Tara Sullivan, a columnist for the Globe for many years. She's a staple of Boston sports. Sort of like a mini me. You know what I'm saying? You want to talk about the legacy and respect.
That's the other thing.
It goes Fred Tara Sullivan.
That's the other thing people hate about you, Fred, is your humility. They're like, I wish he would puff himself up a little bit more. You know what I don't like about Fred Toucher? He never pumps his own tires.
I was
That's what
being
people don't like.
sarcastic because you know what? You got to experience humility to be humble.
That's deep. Thanks, Fred.
I don't know what you want. I'm begging you to throw it to break. No, and then we'll get Tara on.
He's still waiting. You
I'm
know
not
what he's
getting-
waiting.
no,
You
there's
know what
no-
he's waiting for.
No, that wasn't funny. That was an
That wasn't supposed to be funny. That was supposed to be profound,
yeah,
dumbass.
It was an Easter egg he was throwing out there.
Yeah, exactly. All right, very good. We will be back with Tara Sullivan.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
NFL Week 4 is here, and you can start with the Chiefs.
office, in your car, in your footy pajamas, this is how Boston sports fans start their day.
I bet you're just jealous.
Toucher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Yeah, so right now, Jacoby's still our starting quarterback. And even after the game, I watched that film the whole way, back home, got in early in the morning, and still felt the same way. We have to support him across the board, as a coaching staff, players. We have to support him and keep him clean and hopefully give him opportunities to look for the open receiver.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. Obviously, Gerard Mayo talking about how Jacoby Brissett's going to continue to be the starting quarterback for the Patriots. I think everyone's pretty, at least that I've heard, with a voice, uniformly in line with that as you saw him getting killed. I mean, arguably the worst offensive line in the NFL. How do you develop the guy? Do you rush him out and play and have a Bryce Young situation? What do you do? Well, Tara Sullivan is a columnist for The Globe, and she joins us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Hello, Tara Sullivan.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Very well. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
As always, I was reading your column, and I believe we have parallel thinking. Correct me if I'm wrong. But or perhaps I stole it from you. You'll never know. But but
you're welcome to it, whatever it is.
Well, listen, it's not the first time or the last. But so everyone seems to agree Drake May shouldn't be the starting quarterback. Drake May, he won't develop properly behind this line and with the lack of weapons. But here we are, Brissett's getting nailed. Every game, just about, I think every game, I've at one point at least questioned if he was injured after getting hit.
At least the last two. I'm trying to remember Cincinnati, but definitely the last two.
And if he gets hurt, guess what? Drake May's your quarterback, and there's no fallback. Like even if they bring a veteran in at that point, he's not gonna be able to play right away. So Drake May's starting games for you. Tara, where do you land on that? What do you feel the Patriots should do?
Yeah, I probably am in agreement with you, and I hadn't thought deeply about it, but literally while watching that Jets game, I thought to myself, they shouldn't even have this guy as the backup, because if he's forced in, he's going to get crushed just like Brissett is getting crushed, which of course the next logical step is then do you sign a different veteran, and have two veterans ahead of him just in case of injury. I think logically it sort of makes sense. Go out and get somebody else to fill that spot. I don't quite honestly see the Patriots doing it. I think they'll just end up rolling the dice at that point, which probably is scary in terms of thinking about Drake May. But you could certainly make an argument that they shouldn't have even really had him at backup quarterback, because to me, it's just too risky right now to have him playing under any circumstance.
All right, so I'll give you the name Zach Wilson. I mean, the Zach Wilson, they thought that they were going to get a mulligan on because they brought in Aaron Rodgers, and he was going to be their quarterback for 2 years. They knew that they'd admitted that they had rushed Zach Wilson, and they thought that, all right, the kid's talented, we'll let him sit for a year or two, and then he'll have another shot at it. Rodgers, as everyone knows, fourth play of the game, ruptures his Achilles. Here comes Zach Wilson. Now Zach Wilson is backing up not only a rookie in Denver, but a Stidham, I believe, too, in Denver. So he's behind a loser and a rookie loser in Denver. And so there's that example. And then, Tara, there's also the logic of it. Like, if you don't think that he should be playing, why have him be in a situation where he'll have to play if there's an injury in football?
I think it's when, not
well,
if.
I just think if you listen to Coach Mayo too, to Gerard Mayo, like there's times he just says, "Hey, it's football. People get hit." Like I don't think he falls in our camp completely that way. That like he can never play. I think he really just thinks for him the decision not to play May is as much about a rookie just getting time to develop and be mentored by a veteran as it is about protecting him from injury. I don't
think it's injury at all. No. I don't think that you're trying to protect him from injury. You're a big kid. I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, if you play him, he could get hurt. I'm not afraid of Drake May getting hurt. I'm afraid of Drake
May.
The
happy feet.
Yeah, getting destroyed, ruining his mechanics, ruining his. I mean, Bryce Young's not hurt. Bryce Young they got all screwed up. You know what I'm saying? Right. There's a huge track record of this happening.
Right, but I'm sure that the Patriots would listen, you're preaching to the choir, but they probably just think we'll keep him on track with his mechanics. We'll design plays that we'll do our best to keep him protected. But I'm with you. I just think it doesn't. I've seen too many guys get ruined. I mean, look at Mac Jones last night, right? And we know there's a lot of reasons that did you see that play? Like first touch of the ball and then boom, another guy who, maybe didn't come in with the same pedigree as a Wilson or Drake, but it can happen, but every NFL team thinks they're the ones that won't happen too. So I'm with you, but it would surprise me, but I could be wrong. It would surprise me if they end up just doing that at this point in the game. I think if they had truly thought that might be the case, that they wouldn't want to put him in the game at all, they would never have made him the backup quarterback. I think they're comfortable where they are with it.
Tara, is there anything they can do right now, do you think, to help the offensive line, to either make things better for Brissett or make it a workable line to where Drake May could go in at some point this season and not – and again, the injury is one thing, and nobody wants to see that happen to any player, but at least give him some semblance of order up front to where he can go out there and actually work on things as opposed to just scrambling for his life and ruining his mechanics.
It's the ultimate NFL question. I mean, it's really hard to fake a bad offensive line, right? It's one of the hardest things to do in football. The best answer is not to fall behind in a huge hole and be able to run the ball. I mean, these guys, when they're healthy, and they should be getting some guys back from injury, they've shown some ability to run block for sure. And I think that's what gets a line in a little bit better of a rhythm early on in the game. This Jets game was like a perfect storm of everything gone bad. They were playing from behind so early that it was the obvious passing downs. They had a guy playing at left tackle. I couldn't believe that stat when the guys around me in the press box said that he hadn't started a game at left tackle since high school. I mean, that's just impossible to think of at this level. But honestly, the best way around a bad offensive line is to try to keep a game close and be able to run the ball a lot. So when you take your shots, it's not quite so obvious. I don't know another great solution. Do you? I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of ways to scheme around bad offensive lines.
No, and I mean, even personnel-wise, the only thing that you mentioned there that you could hang your hat on is waiting for guys to get healthy. But beyond that, teams are not looking to move on from any type of offensive line. And I don't care if it's guy deep on the depth chart or even a practice squad player. It's no, we're keeping that guy. You don't
find them on the free agent market in the best way. You just don't find them a lot, left tackles especially, and you really have a hard time trading for them. Yeah, they're the gold, right? They're the gold nugget that you dig for, and you got to draft well, and that hasn't always been the case here. And the other thing I will say in defense of an offensive line, I mean, listen, the Patriots are lucky that they have such a great veteran center in the middle of it all. And certainly David Andrews' influence will help. Offensive lines do tend to get better if they stay together as a group. They just naturally, the rhythm happens and the getting to know each other, because it's like a fist, right? When the five fingers work together, that's when it's at its best. When you keep having to change out the parts, it does get harder. So if they can get any sense or any semblance of consistency of personnel moving forward, I do think it would get a little bit better even in pass protection. But again, to me, the key is give them a chance to run block a little more. It's what they prefer anyway, and it's when they get their engines revving up and helps them just get some fluidity, if you will, just some more consistency. But I don't think there's a magic, there is no cavalry coming down the pike to save this situation. They do have to kind of keep finding ways around it. Quick passes. I don't know. What else do you do? There's not a lot of great answers.
Taking all that into account, there seem to be two ways that people are looking at the Patriots this morning. One is this is a dumpster fire of a season. They're going to pick first or second overall. And the other, which gained some momentum from more than one place yesterday, is, hey, look around the league. There are a lot of bad teams out there. So the Patriots, as bad as they look now, won't necessarily be this bad because there are a lot of teams on a par with them. Which way do you subscribe?
My goodness, that's the ultimate glass half full, half empty. I am an avowed optimist by nature. I tend to see things so, and you do see a lot of bad play and inconsistent teams around the league. It's hard to know yet. You know, the team we saw in week 1 looked so well coached and so well prepared, but had all off season, right, to prepare for one game. You have a lot of time to get that game plan going. There have been some little hiccups by the coaching staff, some clock management stuff, you know, even managing the May Brissett situation. You know, I was not in line with playing May at all in that game. I didn't think that was a wise decision. But I do think listen, the Patriots were always going to be graded on somewhat of a curve, you know, that if they just hang in games, I think that's pretty good this year. But I think there's potential that they could look like the team we saw in week 1. You know, they still have Ramondre Stevenson is legit, and there's just, you know, Demario Douglas can catch the ball. So there's a few slivers of hope, but they almost – what's the phrases we use in football, right? The margin of error is tiny. They almost have to play a perfect game by their standards, which is run the ball, control the clock, don't turn it over, to have a chance to win a game.
All right. And when it comes to Bill Belichick, and now every time that there's a team losing that's got was supposed to be better, is Bill Belichick coming back?
Cowboys,
Jacksonville, Philadelphia.
Eagles,
I mean, everyone.
Oh, my goodness. No inside dirt, but my God, would that be some drama? Just think about that scenario. I mean, honestly, don't you think that Belichick would much prefer to take over at the start of a season and install everything and do everything? But at the same time, he wants those victories, you know, as you climb up the all-time win chart. He does seem to be enjoying what he's doing. And my history includes covering Tom Coughlin for many years. And he often talks about the year after Jacksonville being out of the game as one of the best. You know, he kind of roamed around and visited different places. He didn't do media, but he was, you know, like Belichick, just sort of around the league and loved it. So, I mean, in my estimation, much smarter to start with a team brand new, but it might be Jerry Jones is the one to me who's the biggest wild card because he'll do anything.
Yeah.
I know you spent a lot of time in New York, Tara. The Giants thing just won't go away. People keep talking about the Giants, how much you would love it,
I know.
how much you would love it. It's just.
Oh, I'm sure he'd love it. But I don't know.
I mean, did you want to take that on with that quarterback and that? You know, who knows? Like that. Listen. What if he ends up having choices? Right? What's the best situation? I mean, Dallas would make a lot more sense anyway, right? With a chance to win now with some of the personnel they have, but. Yeah, the Giants has always existed in everybody's fever dreams in New York. I mean, it has never, ever, ever gone away. And if the window actually opened and if they, you know, I know they won a game this weekend, but if they were to somehow, you know, crash and burn in a way, it's going to come up. I mean, and I would imagine it's a real possibility if Belichick is going to come back to coaching.
Yeah, if you're the Giants, then, and I'm a Giants fan, I'm selling all my stuff. If they hire Belichick, it's just so. My parents are 82. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
By the time they're good, Belichick, if he's like my parents, good luck. Very good.
I know. The window is closed. That's what I said. It sort of was this. It was always such a dream around there, and obviously the connection with the ownership, with the Mara family. Like it just always sort of existed, but the timing was just never right. And I'm with you; it's still not right now. Like that window has closed, but that's not going to stop Backpage Tabloids from pushing that narrative.
Oh, absolutely. All right, Tara Sullivan. Finally, someone smart. We have the same opinion. So that's very nice for me. Tara,
let's not take this too far, but
all right. Well, listen.
Yeah, don't go using her name in places, is what she's saying.
I understand that she doesn't want me to, but that's not going to stop me. All right, Tara. Thank you so much.
Once it's in print, it's all yours. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, thank you, Tara. We appreciate it.
Take
There
care.
you go. The great Tara Sullivan, ladies and gentlemen. It's exciting. Okay, young Nicholas, as you know, has a young child that was supposed to be named Luigi, but instead they sold out and named him something else that I can't recall off the top of my head.
Noah,
of course. Oh, Noah. I love the biblical names. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, all the acts of the apostles.
Not a lot of Freds in the Bible.
No, not in that Bible. Not in that one. Not in the traditional Bible. Not the King James edition.
Oh.
In the Ronnie James edition. There's several.
You're right. I think Fred Bear gets mentioned in the Ronnie James.
Ronnie James Dio edition of it. Holy Diver. But we will finish up. Nick took Noah to the zoo with Bird. And we'll see how that all works out. Andrew Callahan will be in for the 8 o'clock hour. Then our good friend Adolfo Gonzalez will be in at 9.
Big show.
Oh, I'll tell you what. We'll be back in just a moment.
Sports Hub headlines. Toucher and Hardy.
I no longer love things.
Let's go. Let's ride.
98.5.
Let's roll the dice.
The Sports Hub.
You're just an animal in the zoo. Sitting around feeling persecuted and abused. You're locked up and I'm on the loose. But I can't quite tell who's looking at who.
All right, we are Toucher and Hardy. Why are we playing the Zoo song? Well, it's because Nicholas took his son Noah to the zoo with Bird. What zoo? Not Franklin Park Zoo.
No,
Stone Zoo.
Stone Zoo.
And that's where?
Stoneham, Massachusetts.
Okay, and you guys have been there?
Many times.
I have not been to the Stone
So
Zoo.
it goes San Diego Zoo, Stone Zoo?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then Bronx Zoo.
All right, so what do they have at the Stone Zoo?
It's been a long time since I've been there, Nick. What do they got at the Stone Zoo
the
these
pass.
days?
When did the pass run out?
They got bears, snow leopards, wolves are there.
Yeah, we heard about the monkeys yesterday.
They have coyote.
Well, yeah, they had
They
a
have rats.
one-armed monkey. We
That's
heard
right,
about
that's right, we
yesterday.
gave with one arm.
Yeah.
All right, so here we are at the zoo with Noah.
What are we gonna do? To see some animals. We're going to the zoo. Yeah.
All right, so this is.
They're
Noah-
just making their way around the zoo. They
No, but I gotta
consulted the
explain.
map.
Noah's 15 months old, 19 months old, 19 months old.
Year and a half.
So it's Bird, who's in his 40s and lives at his parents' house in Port-au-Pines, and Nicholas, who you have to assume it's challenging for him to get through the zoo, given his pace of walking.
Yeah.
Is Noah faster than you already, Nick?
Well, they got the upper baby with them, so they've got the stroller. But normally, I would say it's probably about 50-50 in terms of who's outpacing who when they're walking.
Yeah, we learned about the upper baby stroller yesterday because Nick is still at the phase of parenthood where he wouldn't let Bird push his kid in a stroller.
Upper baby can't hide money. He's doing well.
But also, what was interesting to me was that he wouldn't let Bird push his kid in the stroller, which is very indicative, and we've all been there, of our first child.
Yes.
Thinking that they were this fragile egg conceived by the Lord himself that needs our consistent protection in order to serve the world to their capabilities.
Yeah.
All right, here they are. They're at the zoo.
No, look, a black bear right in front of you, buddy. Look at that. Big, looks like a big puppy, huh? Big black puppy.
It looks like a Rubik's Cube, Noah. Noah, look at the bird. It looks like Lyndon Johnson. Look at the bear. Look at the bear.
Looks like a puppy. Right away, teaching him about how to be safe around wild animals. Vicious, dangerous wild animals. It's a big puppy.
Well, a puppy is probably at most 20 pounds, 15 pounds, and a black bear is a ton. So there you go. They're very similar except for everything. Well, they both have hearts. They both have souls.
They have lungs. They are breathing.
Is that true, Piano?
That was Troop trying to convince me that horses were athletes. They have lungs. They have breathing. They have musculature.
What do you mean people could see who I follow on Twitter and what I like?
Let's go back to
when these old sports guys figured out that you could see who they were following and what they liked on Twitter, that was a real scandal.
Yeah.
Pop shots. Maybe not in his case.
No.
But in the case of another now quote unquote retired radio personality, there was a lot of
that's right. That's right.
There was a lot of stuff that I didn't know that they even allowed on Twitter.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
And he did not work for our station, I can assure you of that.
No.
All right, here we go.
No, look, a black bear right in front of you, buddy. Look at that. He's big. Looks like a big puppy, huh? Big black puppy. There are bears in Massachusetts, buddy. There's a lot of black bears in Massachusetts in the New England area, so you gotta be careful when you get older, all right? You're out in the woods and the mountains. You gotta be cautious.
So what do you give us some advice? What should someone do if they see a bear in the wild?
I was told to throw your arms up, make yourself look bigger than you usually are, and just scream like a madman.
Is that true? Do you also poke them with a stick?
So the black bears, I think Bird is right. I think you're supposed to make yourself appear large and threatening. Grizzly bears, brown bears, that's when you play dead. Is that
Okay.
right?
That's
Yep.
correct.
Yeah, 12,
Adam
who
knows.
constantly
He's 12?
wears Merrill hiking boots, and he's got a walking stick in the back of his of his hatchback coupe.
I'll have you know it's not a hiking stick. They're the ski poles.
You do not have those.
I have them. I haven't used them yet because I'm so embarrassed that I might have to.
Why did you get those?
I had them actually. They're my snowshoeing poles, which I do need them for snowshoeing. But I do know eventually I'm probably going to have to use them for hiking.
What is the appeal of snowshoeing? I'm being dead serious. What is the appeal of it?
You can get into the woods in the wintertime when you normally wouldn't be able to with feet of snow blocking your way. It keeps you on top of the snow. So that's the physics of it.
When are you going to fall and die out there?
Why are you trying to stay on top of snow?
Because
if you
it's free.
sneak in, it's too deep to
why
walk
not
through,
walk?
John.
The only time
why
I
not
ever-
walk the shoveled path? 12.
The
Well,
only
there's
time
not
I
always
ever
a shoveled path where I'm going, John.
No, the only time I ever considered it when I was taking the dog out, for like a long winter walk.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it'd be great if I had snowshoes. But the dog doesn't have snowshoes, and the dog is still going to have to like jump over huge drifts of snow, and it's not going to be any good for them.
So you don't want to borrow my snowshoes? That's what
No,
you're saying.
thank you.
Okay, it's fine.
So do you pack the car with your snowshoes and your poles, and then you go out and you put them on, and then you go out by yourself?
Yes.
Do you bring any kind of device in case you get lost or
No,
die?
because the places I'm going aren't remote. So, if anything were to happen, it would be easy enough for me to.
Yeah, he
come
goes
to my
behind the
own
Natick
aid.
Mall and stuff. All right.
Okay, you see a big black bear in the wild? Yeah, scream really loud and be like,
All right, you're creeping me out. I don't like when
Jesus.
people talk
What's
to me
going
like
on
kids
here?
like that. By the way, Bird's fantastic with kids, and I know because he puts it on Instagram all the time because I don't know how many people are living in that Bird's parents' house, but that's no retirement. They've got a whole house full of kids most of the time.
okay, you see a big black bear in the wild? Yeah, scream really loud and be like, "Rawr, rawr." You're gonna scream. I think everyone thinks we're like a gay couple.
What was that?
I think everyone thinks we're a gay couple.
Why is that?
Well, there's 2 adult men here and a child, so they probably think we mixed our in a cup and had Elijah Gushku give birth to our son Noah over here.
Who's Eliza Gushku? And what is that? That's a twins reference.
Yes.
Who's Eliza Gushku?
Dushku, who's an actress.
Yeah, but she wasn't in Twins.
No, she was not.
I think everyone thinks we're a gay couple.
I don't think anyone thinks you two were a gay couple.
They might have, but and it's not like totally out of the question. But I also like the way he thinks gay people a gay couple, male couple could conceive is that
It's like a mixed drink.
Is that they mix everything up. He learns everything he knows from Danny DeVito movies. Everyone in Beverly Hills is down and out.
What? They do that. Gay couples put the in a cup and they pregnant whatever lady it is. I'm serious. I'm not making that up.
So it's like,
It's like a mixed drink, and whatever comes out, and it looks like you or me, the baby. That's it.
Yeah, Noah's like, that's not right. And then Noah's also thinking if he shares genetics with either of these people.
I've heard of cocktails, but this is ridiculous. Cocktails.
First of all,
Waller.
it's filthy, and second of all, I mean, you obviously wrote it.
It's like a mixed drink.
All right.
I thought for a moment.
And by the way, he worked at a smoothie place. So you should feel good if you've had one of his
I
smoothies.
thought for a moment that maybe, like, wow, is this a thing? I looked it up. Not a thing.
Oh,
Not at all a
no.
thing.
I can't imagine that would be that they take a specimen, mix it with another specimen, and then mix it all up That doesn't sound scientific at all.
No, it's not, and they don't do that.
Yeah, and I think, and it's not a cheap process either. So I can't imagine that.
Yeah, exactly, bud.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I saw it on documentary on TV.
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't. And that
And you're absolutely
documentary
right.
was boobs a popping too.
Even Noah knew that was not right.
Yeah. No, I saw this documentary called Jocks. And it was about this college football team that gets trapped on a bus. And they can only love each other. So they mixed it all up. All right, Andrew Callahan is here. He will be in for the next hour. And then our friend Adolfo Gonzalez. Who's getting Adolfo Gonzalez? All right, Nicholas, you're going to have to go get him now. Because he's waiting for you. Well, now, yeah. Why are you looking at it like that? Yeah, now.
Yeah.
We had this discussion earlier. You had to get him before 8 o'clock. He was ready at 5:30, but yeah, you got to go get Nick. It's a mile away. Don't worry about it. Boy, Nick, he's so demonstrative. Every time he's asked to do anything, he gets so physically demonstrative. Like now. Like you have to get him now. Oh! What the hell's the difference between now and later?
Well, we did talk about this, before the show this morning. We had a meeting where we actually discussed this was one of the agenda topics of what time Adolfo was going to have to be picked up.
It's just like it's so hard for me, so put upon by the idea that he has to get him now when he knew he had to get him instead of a half an hour from now.
Let's put
now. That's just completely unreasonable.
You know what?
A half an hour from now.
Let's make his head explode. Let's give him a Dunkin' order for everybody and have him pick that up.
There you
while he's
go.
out.
Well, then who will run the YouTube? All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
games left after a 4-1 win in Toronto last night. They visit the Jays again this evening. And not to be left out, the Bruins continue their preseason at TD Garden tonight against the Washington Capitals. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers bring you this one at 7 o'clock right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the $14.99 Big Deal Meals at the Nines. 4 new hearty full-size entrees like the roasted turkey dinner, available every Monday through Wednesday for just $14.99. You gotta love the Nines. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
Listen to it, laugh at it, get mad at it, agree with it, argue about it. It is Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5 The Sports Hub. Half toucher.
Dressed like a gorilla.
Half Hardy.
A big, beautiful ball of flavor.
And a whole lot of Boston sports.
And I have had many offers to become an insider.
Sports Hub.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. We are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can watch us on YouTube. Search for Toucher and Rich on YouTube. Nick left to go get Adolfo, so when do you think he'll get to his car? Tomorrow? I'll tell you, that kid, does he get dramatic every time he's asked to do something? Something that we had talked about. Very strange.
It's kind of funny. You have the slow-moving Nick getting Adolfo, who does not move very quickly himself, unless he's.
They should be here by 9.
Yeah.
Was it?
I'm just saying.
2 miles away?
Adolfo.
Not even.
Not going to take the stairs to come downstairs.
No.
See?
It's like walking distance.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable. Yes, now. Like, what's so ridiculous about that? I can't get him. You're the one who has to get him. I got to do this. He always amazes me with that. He's so. I love Nick, but he's so demonstrative. Like, oh, he's like a bad actor. Anyway, Andrew Callahan. He's a columnist. He writes about the Patriots for the Boston Herald, and he's in studio with us as he is every Tuesday at this time. Mr. Callahan, hello, sir.
Good morning.
Hi, Andrew.
Hi.
Hey, Hardy.
All right. So I finally saw the Patriots look bad, as they did on Thursday night. You've had time, I'm sure, to watch the film. You've been around the team. What happened? What made that game different than the Cincinnati game and the Seattle game?
No, a couple things. They were outplayed and they were outcoached. So when that happens, you lose 24-3 in what really should have been a worse game. And you heard it from Alex Mempelt the day after saying, look, like I kind of regretted my game plan. And it wasn't just 7 passes in the first 9 plays, throwing more often than not on first down against a run defense that you watch, Fred, like not very good. Bottom 10 by any metric worth its salt. So they were manhandled up front. That's their only plan. Then you fall behind, and you have Jacoby Brissett getting sacked 5 times. Drake May gets sacked twice, and you have the worst pass-protecting offensive line going into that game going, oh, no, we have a new low to hit. And so they're now averaging 10 quarterback hits allowed per game. And the Jets also, I'll say this, they had a different plan for attacking that offensive line. Seattle and Cincinnati, I told you guys last week, but 6 times. They just said, we'll rush forward, we'll get there anyway. They did. The Jets said, no. We're coming after you, and we're going to get more pressure and sacks than they did.
And the Jets are not a blitzing team generally.
Right.
In fact, I think that they blitzed more against the Patriots than they had under that defensive coordinator in his whole time there. And I guess the strategy was right. Yeah, your offensive line sucks and they're inexperienced. Let's take advantage of that.
Yeah, and there were defensive backs coming off the edge, which it's hard to know. Are they attacking their protection rules, knowing which way they would slide, or they just go? So Caden Wallace, let me get this right, is a 3rd-round rookie who played right tackle ever since high school. Now he's your left tackle. Well, yeah, we should probably attack him. And even when it wasn't like a safety blitz that they don't run very often, to your point, it was let's switch the defensive end and the defensive tackle in these stunts and twists and games where that guy, Caden Wallace, has not worked with Michael Jordan, a former practice squad player, at left guard for very long. So naturally, they're not passing these guys off in split second timing.
It wasn't just them, though. It wasn't just the left side of the line. It was everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, how are they completely incapable of handling blitz pickup? Well, this goes running backs too. No one was able to handle it. I'm mystified as to why even the experienced people on that offensive line couldn't deal with it.
Look, it's a good question, and Jacoby Brissett took more sacks against the blitz than he completed passes. Like that's a big problem.
My God.
And this is the first
you just
time they had
ruined
done
one
that.
of your, you just ruined one of your questions for
Oh
later.
no, I got some good stats
Oh,
for you
okay.
here today.
All right.
Yeah, boy.
But I would say too, to back the Patriots here for a second, if the Jets are doing something they've never done in the last 3.5 years under Robert Saleh, and suddenly spring that on you, not just in a regular game, but a Thursday night game, I would be caught off guard. The problem is you have to dam it up, and they never did.
Yeah,
Okay.
and just the notion that you've got some experience out there when you keep moving guys around. The left tackle position, you wrote about at some point, they've had 4 different guys line up at left tackle in 3 games.
Yep.
That means someone else is lining up in a position, in virtually every other position except for center. Something different. So there's no consistency. There's no reason not to attack it if you're the Jets, even if you're not a blitzing team. Like, well, let's go after this. What are the odds that someone's going to screw up here because they're playing a position they hadn't played yet this season?
And if you looked at the offensive line preseason, you asked me, okay, what would be something that would take this bad situation? We all look at it. We saw the talent's bad. It's not good enough that could make this worse. You would say injuries, which have hit. You would say players moving out of position, which have hit. And you would say inexperience and chemistry. We hit all 3. Like, whatever the bingo card is, it's full right now based on disaster for the offensive line, and we're not even in week 4. I think some things will iron themselves out. And I was listening when you guys talked to Tara Sullivan earlier. There's a big shift I think they can make play calling wise that would alleviate pressure on this offensive line. So there are answers here that they can go to. There's no guarantee they'll work, but it has to be better than it's been, right?
All right, what do you think they can do play calling wise?
So number one, more quick game. Get the ball out of Jacoby Brissett's hands immediately. Weeks 1 and 2, he was bottom 5 in the league when you clock. The folks at PFF do this. Your average time from snap to throw. So how long are you holding on to the ball? And that's not entirely on the quarterback or the offensive line. But to me, if you're holding on to the ball, number one, your receivers aren't open. And number 2, they're probably running far downfield because you can't throw it to them. Pop Douglas, this is no coincidence, had a team-high 9 targets in week 3 when Jacoby Brissett was not bottom 5 in this stat, but was instead top 10. So more quick game. I would say more screens. And I would say mix up when you want to take your play-action shots. Like you saw that first play of the game, Jacoby Brissett, fake handoff left, boots back right, and has a guy in his face because the Jets are waiting 1st and 10, started drives. This is when they take their shots. And he had to settle for a little dump into the flat to Hunter Henry and got crushed for his 1st to 10 quarterback hits. So they need to mix up because defenses the last 2 weeks have had a beat on when they're not running the ball, this is when they want to take their shots.
Okay, so if they do that, then people just can't take the Jets game plan and do the same thing. That you believe that this could be fixed.
I mean, they could take the Seahawks game plan or the Bengals game plan. Those both work pretty well. Not as well as the Jets, but I would say it helps a lot to blitz like they did when you have a Sauce Gardner, right?
Yeah.
And DJ Reed. And you know this team better than the Seahawks and Bengals did because you played them twice a year, even with the new offense. But the Jets run a similar, I would say the bones of their offense are similar to the bones of the Patriots. So they knew what they were looking at even on a short week.
Okay. Now, okay. So with Brissett and him getting hit like this, you heard us talking to Tara Sullivan. Do you think, I mean, it doesn't logically make sense to me if you don't want to play Drake May, if everyone is under the assumption that it wouldn't be good for him to have him this perilously close to being thrust into it without even the preparation. Are you comfortable? I've probably asked you this before, but it gets more and more evident every week. Are you comfortable with the quarterback room for the Patriots, or should they make an adjustment?
Depending on what their options are, I would do my best to add a veteran quarterback there, and if they're interested. And we know certain veteran players with options just say, no thanks. Like Brandon Ayuk doesn't want to be here, Calvin Ridley. Who knows that Ryan Tannehill and Trevor Siemian, obviously not going to be confused with some of the best receivers in the league, feel about New England. I would be on the phone personally. because you don't have to take it from me. You can take it from Elliot Wolf. When I talked to him in an exclusive before the season started, he said, quote, "We feel this is the worst thing that could happen is you put a guy in before he's ready, and then you have to take him out. It can be, quote, counterproductive to their career." So I said, okay, so you don't have this veteran. Why aren't you adding one as a buffer, to your point, to our point? Well, if an injury arose and Drake is the backup, he'll have to be thrust in there before he's ready, but we do have confidence in him to the point of a veteran quarterback. Jacoby has been pretty durable throughout their career. So, like, we're confident enough in Drake, and I see the brow furrowing. I don't completely understand.
No, it doesn't logically make sense. The worst thing that we can do is put a kid in and then have to take him out, but we're not going to ensure that that doesn't happen. And when you're this team, how, in your opinion, how big a hit is it if they're so in love with Joe Milton? How big a hit is it if they carry 4 quarterbacks? Like, what difference is that going to make with wins and losses? I mean, if you bring in a veteran quarterback, it protects you from the chance of ruining May, so that's a fact. So if you believe that, I mean, they'll play and he won't. So what does that take off your team? And in your opinion, is that roster spot so valuable that they can't possibly give it to a 4th quarterback?
No, not at all. I mean, they have roster spots now dedicated to players, because in the same Q&A I had with Elliott, it was, okay, why did you claim these offensive linemen who have never started games before, and they're added to the roster? They're players we wanted to take a look at that we could develop and take time with. Jaheim Bell's a 7th-round tight end. He hasn't caught a pass yet. Marcellus Dial has 2 missed tackles. That's second most in the team. He's a 6th-round rookie corner. He's not really playing defense. They have roster spots for them. I don't know why you couldn't have for a 4th quarterback. And look, I lost my mind very briefly on television the night before I came in here in the morning and said, oh, I would put in Joe Milton before Drake May. That is not actually how I feel once I had a second thought, because you can actually play Drake and I think protect his confidence. But what you'll have to do is run a game plan so conservative in my mind that it's counterproductive to your efforts to win.
Yes.
Which then you're caught between...
You're going to lose the locker room.
Right. And you're not going to lose the locker room in a day or a quarter or a half. But this is where they're caught between the long-term vision of we're going to have 5 roster spots for guys who don't even play because it's better in 2025.
You can lose in 3 or 4 games, and that's all it would take. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What did you think when Drake May went into the game on Thursday night?
I think he looked like a rookie. I mean, his
What did you think? What did you think? Just Drake May is going in. What was your thought at that moment?
Oh, God. That was it.
Right.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
what are they doing?
Why do you think they did that?
Because they thought it was a chance to get him game reps in a setting that they could kind of control and protect and just let him roll.
They couldn't do either of those 2 things.
I agree. I saw it.
They couldn't keep his helmet on.
I mean,
let
that
alone
was at the end of
protect
the
him.
game. How about, what was it, the first or second play where he spun out of an ankle tackle and got body slammed? I mean, that was right away. That wasn't like, all right, let's warm up.
You know what was even faster than that? The near pick he threw.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the
first play.
The very first play where there happened to be a linebacker.
And that's what
standing next
rookies
to
do.
Gibson.
But if the most important thing is his confidence, right? And he's going to have to make mistakes. He's going to have to get hit. I'm not saying make him the bubble boy and just put him in a corner for the rest of the season. What I'm saying is this situation is not fit for any quarterback, let alone a first-round rookie who you are banking on to return you to relevance over the next 10 years. This is pressure on half of your dropbacks. This is like if I came in and interrupted all of you on half of your points. We would have no show.
It's like David Carr. It's the same thing that happened to David Carr.
There'd be no rhythm. That we couldn't develop any kind of segment or chemistry. That's what's going on through 3 weeks. I think it will get better, but it just got worse before it got better, going from the Seahawks to the Jets.
Well, and also it doesn't make any sense because you put him into a situation, like, I don't know why they didn't think he was going to get hit when Brissett had been hit 10 times. Like, they were having their way with you. They were this... Again, I don't understand why then. And again, I'm like you. I'm like you, Andrew. I'm not against him like getting game reps like at an end of a game just to like put him in. I mean, you see teams do it all the time.
Sure.
I mean, it happened in the Buffalo game that 2 backups come in. One team's getting killed, one team's way up. I mean, you put your backups in. And I get that, but it's just that. This early in the season, in that scenario where a team was just running roughshod all over you, I don't quite understand it.
The decision-making makes all of us, I think, in this room stand up and take notice. Okay, we thought these guys had a methodical plan to move forward,
Right.
and then they do this, and you're like, oh, boy.
And just real quick, like, it wasn't like last night's Buffalo game. Like, the Jets weren't up 40 points. Like, I know they dominated the game, but it wasn't like they were running away with it so much that they weren't going to do anything. Like they weren't going to, they were going to like let up. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if they blitzed them or not, or I don't know what they. Okay,
on offense, they called off the dogs, but not the defense.
Right, like it was. You could justify it. Like, I mean, if May comes in and scores a quick touchdown, I mean, crazier things have happened than coming back in a game like that. I realize the chances of it are astronomically small, but it wasn't like it was. You know what I'm saying? Like the Jets they weren't making a statement by. It wasn't like Deion Sanders at Colorado, like running up the score. You know what I'm saying?
Well, to me, again, I'm with you. You can give him late game reps. The game's out of hand. Things have been decided. That's fine. What's not fine to me is putting him behind a fourth-string left tackle for a team with the worst left tackle situation in the league and a third-string left guard who had certain snaps where it's like, what do I do with my hands? This is not, again, to poke fun at guys who were signed to develop here. But development takes time. The Patriots don't have it right now with their offensive line. So to me, that's why you can't look at the talent and be like, oh, we need to change this. You can't. It's the play calling. It's the coaching around it. So your quarterback can just survive.
And not only put him in, but keep him in there for a 4th and 10. And then keep him in there again.
Yeah, that was weird.
I mean, it was just
well, I mean, at
weirdness.
that point, like, you just need to let him play. You're not going to, like, punt from your, opponent's 30-yard line. You know what I mean?
Right. All right.
I don't know why he was in there in the first place. So I guess every decision made after that, it's like, okay, whatever the hell you want to do, because now it's just crazy time.
All right. So Andrew Callahan is here. You can call if you wish. 617-779-0985. We will continue.
That's why you run the football against a team that is lighter in the ass. Then when you get down in the game, down 2 scores, now all of a sudden it's a problem. And that's, I think, the dilemma that he faces. Like, he's got to open it up a little bit more. And I think what he fears is I can't do that with Drake May right now.
Dulac and Bertrand, weekday mornings at 10 on the Sports Hub.
Twitch feed of this is going to be used all around the internet.
Get up.
The cat is finally out of the bag.
Get up. We're back. Toucher and Hardy. Get up.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sometimes you have protected boots and sometimes you have unprotected boots. And what I will say is, like, you're anticipating a player to do one thing and sometimes they change that up. And it goes back to, those tendency breakers, those guys, all the other teams, they self-scout as well. So we just have to get better as a whole. Our screen game has to get better. We have to continue to run the ball and also, the intermediate passing. Got to do a better job with that.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. Andrew Callahan from the Boston Herald is here, as he will be every Tuesday for the season. I forgot to ask the guys to play it, but DeMarcus Covington, the defensive coordinator, was talking to the media, I guess 2 days ago, and they asked what happened on defense, and he was like, well, it wasn't X's and O's. It was missed tackles and fundamentals and things of that nature. Which, do you share that opinion, and do you think that was kind of odd for him? Because Alex Van Pelt said, like, I made mistakes, like, I should have done things differently. And DeMarcus Covington just went, no, like, I was great, essentially. It wasn't anything I did. Did you find that strange at all? And was he right?
He's not entirely right. And talking to some guys around the locker room yesterday, I had questions. I have a column coming out later today about, okay, here are their 4 biggest problems going to week 4 and some fixes. All of them are of the belief that containing the quarterback is the biggest problem. So DeMarcus Covington is likely telling them that because Aaron Rodgers and Geno Smith completed every single pass they ever had outside the pocket against the Patriots. Perfect. 11 of 11. I would argue the play calling when they go to their blitz package is just as big of a problem because the Jets had a success rate over 80%. Anytime the Patriots wanted to send an extra rusher, Rodgers said, that's the guy you need to block. I'll get this out quickly. And they smoked them for 13-something yards per play. The Seahawks did basically the same thing. So it's not that they're blitzing a ton, because they're not. But when they choose to blitz, when Covington's called these blitzes, they're often in high-leverage situations, third downs, red zone, fringe of field goal range before you're trying to keep them out. And Geno Smith and Aaron Rodgers have had no problem with that at all. That means either they're reading it too easily or you're not getting home in a way that you've designed it to free rushers to get in for sacks and pressures. So to me, I think the blitz part is just as big of a problem.
Okay. The missed tackles, though, I mean, those are fundamental things that we saw so much during that game. And I don't know if it was in stark contrast to the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, it was.
But it was something that you think, well, what's going on with these guys right now? Was it the short week? We talked about this, I think, last week when you were in, how the defense is going to be behind the 8 ball on these short weeks from the Sunday to the Thursday turnaround. If one side of the ball is going to be more tired and less ready to go, it's going to be on defense. But I'm thinking, sitting at 1-1 and how they had played against the Seahawks, I don't think it's a question of like effort or heart or engagement. They just look like they weren't ready.
Crap.
And I couldn't figure out, it's like, how is everybody this bad at the fundamental task of tackling a runner?
Yeah, I don't know, because I will say this was their highest missed tackle total for a single game in the last 3 years. Tied for it, 12 whiffs. To me, that's an outlier. I think more often than not, they're a better tackling team. They're often one of the best tackling teams in the league. So whether it was a short week or whatever it was, Jabril Pepper said after the game, yeah, we weren't always hustling out there. To me, if that's true and that happens again, especially Sunday, okay, now you have a problem, whatever the missed tackle total is, because you just need to get to the ball. And that's a Jets offense that you have one guy in Garrett Wilson who forced one missed tackle, and that was it. And that's kind of the only guy you need to worry about in the passing game. Then it's all bodies to Breece Hall. And yet, because they were missing these tackles, Next Gen Stats said they gave essentially 100 extra yards to the Jets because they didn't wrap up. Now, you're going to miss 4, 5, 6, maybe sometimes 8. So maybe they get 50 or 60 anyway. But when you're the Patriots, and you're not throwing for 100 yards. You can't give 100 yards to the other team because you just don't wrap up. I just do think it will ultimately be an outlier because of how good they've been historically.
All right. How much better will they be when they get all of these players back? You can start with the offensive line. You had Verdarian Lowe and City So at practice yesterday. It looks like So's ahead of Lowe, but even if you placed them on the offensive line, they were the projected starters. How much better is that line? And you have guys that are at varying degrees of return coming off of injured reserve. How much better will this team get when they're healthy?
I wish I knew. Can we sit for a second, though, and imagine being Vidarian Lowe, the poster child for like all of the dung we want to sling at the Patriots offensive line for being bad, and the week he's out after averaging 4 pressures allowed per game, everyone's like, please come back. We miss you.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
My point. He's not very good, and he is the savior.
Right. And he's their best option right now. The first guy left. The third guy who came in after him is a third-round rookie we talked about, only plays right tackle. And then the fourth guy is someone they didn't even want to play this year. Like that, you need him. So how much better will it get? I don't know, because Nick Bosa's coming up on Sunday. Whether it's Vidarian Lowe or Caden Wallace, the Patriots are going to have a big, big problem. And then you've got good rushers from Miami and Houston after that, and the Jets are coming up later. Like, it could get better. I think it will, but it won't be because the talent changes or honestly guys come back from injury. It will be play calling, screens, quick passes, just plays that don't put as much stress on them to do their jobs.
Okay, so the 49ers are at home. They're coming off 2 losses. They're real banged up. Ayuk hasn't been very good this year. At least he doesn't have statistics. I can't tell you how he's been playing. I don't watch all 22. Only study the Patriot games, all 20. No, I don't do any of them. But from what you've seen from the 49ers and what you've seen from the Patriots, can this be another game like Seattle or Cincinnati? Or are the 49ers so, even with the injuries, so far and away? And by the way, McCaffrey's going to Germany to get his Achilles looked at.
Not going to see him anytime soon.
Yeah, he's trying to figure out what's going on. He had to go to Germany to do that.
Why is it always Germany? Right?
I didn't even know it was always Germany. There must be. Is it always Germany?
Well, the only, I guess it's not. Kobe went to Germany once, right? Or there's like platelet injections once upon a time.
I think Tiger.
I was just going to say Tiger did that
It's
too.
always Germany.
Yeah, it's Germany.
Yeah.
You want to know why?
I go to Mexico.
I got a buddy who's done that.
Oh, sure.
A couple of times for
all my plastic surgery?
No, he goes down there for some shoulder thing that he said if he wanted it done in the States, it would cost him $50,000, and he gets it done in Mexico for $8,000.
That's where you want to cut corners, is when it comes to your health.
His own primary, his own surgeon told him, he said, don't do it here, go to Mexico, and they gave him the name of the clinic.
Oh.
Well, that's a good surgeon. He's like, oh, listen, you don't need me.
Yeah.
It's just you're just throwing money away on me. You go down to Mexico.
Get the bargain basement. Sir.
Right, exactly.
That one.
I just charge as much because I can. It's not like I have any kind of real expertise.
Get the guy who isn't as good as me.
I don't believe that your friend's doctor told him that. How about that? No, I believe you. But I
You
don't.
think my friend is lying to me?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
All right.
Because he knew that you would be so worried if he didn't. If I don't believe anyone's primary care physician said, go to Mexico and get this procedure done. It doesn't matter who does it.
Okay. I'll find out more information. I'll get more
really
information.
grill him. Really lay into him.
I will.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, we have that type of relationship. But the reason why they go to Germany is here, patients have become too empowered. You're your own best advocate. You know, asking questions, all that. You go over to Germany and you start asking questions, and we will be asking the questions.
Oh, he went Hogan's Heroes on you.
Everybody loves that reference.
You know what the star of Hogan's Heroes loved to do? Tape himself having sex.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a big fan of it. So was Jethro Bodine from the Beverly Hillbillies.
I didn't know Shannon Sharp was in Hogan's Heroes.
Shannon Sharp's selling merch now based on that. Based on him.
Shelley, is that what it is? Like something to do with the girl's name?
I don't
She's
know.
got to be thrilled with that.
If you don't know what we're talking about, Shannon Sharp went on Instagram Live, but with no video while he was reportedly, he claims, having sex with a woman. And for some reason, this was supposed to be like the audio of him having sex was supposed to be embarrassing. That I don't understand that at all. If the minute I find out there's no video, I don't care what I don't believe for 2 seconds he didn't know that was being taped now.
He sounds like a Bronco. Like he sounds like the team he played.
Well, he looks like a Bronco
Yeah.
too. He's admitted it. He said it's the most majestic of all animals. When we had a caller who said you look like a horse, and he said, "Yeah, I do. It's the most majestic of all animals." So he does. He sounds and looks like a Bronco. It's a fetish that these women have. All right, what were you asking about football? Going to Germany. All right, so he's going to Germany. So I was asking the question, actually.
It was about San Francisco.
Christian
Whether or not
McCaffrey's
they're
going to
be
Germany.
better.
No, but that wasn't the question. That
Achilles
was just
tendonitis specialist.
Oh,
Like,
no.
how many
Will
specialists do
the
they have?
Patriots have a spot like they did against Seattle or Cincinnati or San Francisco just too good?
So it's Tuesday morning, right? I don't know. But there is a path I could see where they follow the same formula. You've had extra time to prepare for this 49ers offense. George Kittle might be out again. Deebo Samuel could be out again. Brandon Ayuk, Fred, in case you were wondering, has not been playing particularly well. So there are threats here. Like, they're racking up yards like it's nobody's business. But they gave a game away at L.A. where they had a home crowd that just flew south for the weekend. Okay, they'll be at home. They're 10.5-point favorites. First time, or it's only the fifth time the Pats have been 10.5-point underdogs this century. So it's a huge task ahead of them. But I think if they do get the early lead, they get a turnover, they can do this. I think ultimately, though, the talent is the talent. 49ers are desperate, and they'll pull away late. But it's Tuesday. We'll see how this goes.
Okay, so Shanahan is a great coach. How important is it for Mayo to stay in this game? Like, can you see a scenario where Mayo is, like, kind of embarrassed? You said that they were outcoached against the Jets, which is difficult. Because it's not like that's a well-oiled operation over there. So is there a scenario where, like, how does Mayo have to show? Like, he can't get thoroughly outcoached in this game, can he? Or what are the repercussions
If
of
they
that?
want to win? No.
No, but say they lose, but there's two kinds of way of losing. Like, if they're in the game and they lose, they're 10.5-point dogs. Like, it could be a moral victory at this point. If he's just they're dominated, and it's just like Shanahan, when he's considered by one of the best coaches in the NFL, and he's just kind of doing whatever he wants. Is there a scenario where you're worried Mayo starts losing the team? Like, everything's so tenuous right now. Mayo starts losing the team. Do you see him getting outcoached to that degree?
I can see that. I will say this Niners offense thrives on yards after the catch. And that's how they got their free money. We will design plays, get players in space, let them take care of the rest. They're not doing that right now. So if the Patriots issues missing tackles, like, that might not come up as much as it used to in any other year against the Niners. I will push back, though, on the idea that this is all so tenuous after, 3 games, because it is September. If they lose to the Niners, as we expect, by 2 scores or whatever it is, and then come back and beat Miami, who's dealing with plenty of quarterback problems at home, you're looking at a 2-3 start where Vegas is going, how do the Patriots have half the wins we expected them to have for the entire season, and we just got through week 5? Like, we talk about how week to week this is. I don't expect them to win in San Francisco. And to me, that's fine if they lose. You don't want to see them get out coached or outworked. The bigger issue for me would being outworked and out-hustled, because to me that would reflect a lack of buy-in that Mayo has.
That's what I'm saying, and I don't mean tenuous like he's going to lose the locker room next week. I'm talking about with a new coach, any new coach, and especially given this situation with this lack of talent and replacing who he's replacing. I'm always afraid for rookie head coaches, because we've talked to guys. Remember Aqib Talib? Who was the coach?
Vance
Joseph.
Vance Joseph. We asked him.
He said the first meeting we know it happened with Patricia too.
Right.
We've literally heard now of two coaches that the very first meeting that they had with the team, they lost the room and the players were like, Aqib Talib told us, he's like, this guy's an idiot. Like, I'm not going to pay any attention to him. They all made that decision immediately. So we know from ex-players, as you probably do too, that a new coach, it's no joke. Like, you can lose that room quick. And so that would just be my fear.
Yeah, I would say 2 things, though, quickly on that. One, everything we've heard, and this is not to say players would talk ill of their boss in public because they're not that stupid, has been not just positive about Gerard Mayo. It's been overwhelmingly positive. And even after that win, being like, we've seen him come into his own as a head coach. We'll run through a brick wall. He's doing player podcasts, all this different stuff. And that was amid and then after a really hard training camp. Like, you're going to get your ass to the hill. You're going to run this after a 2.5 hour practice and do more conditioning, and they did it. Number 2, unlike Matt Patricia and Vance Joseph, he was here to build up equity and belief in-house, especially with that defense, to say, when you do what I say, when you fulfill these game plans and run these drills, we will have the best defense in the league, as they did by EPA, for a 5-year span from 2019 to 2023. That's not just, okay, I'm going to believe because I have to. You're the new guy in charge. That's, I know this works, at least on defense. And the rest, as we know, is up to Alex Van Pelt on offense.
All right, Andrew Callahan is going to stick around. He's going to do the big game that he brought to the table. 2 stats and a lie.
Unbeaten, baby.
And Adolfo Gonzalez is now in the building. He came in during the last break. So you see him? He's sporting a Fu Manchu.
No, I did not see that.
Yeah, he's got a Fu Manchu beard on him. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
There's an app for that. Download the Sports Hub app for loads of stuff. Absolutely free. Connect with the shows, get podcasts, and more. Get it where you get your apps. Or at 985sportshub.com. Toucher and Hardy.
Such an enticing explosion.
98.5, the Sports Hub.
I think for us, when you look at it, missed tackles, the things that we didn't do well, keeping them on the field. So it's not what they did, it's what we didn't do to get them off the field. So whether it was a penalty, whether it was the missed tackles, whether it was a misalignment, all right, those are the things that's not really anything the Jets did. It was what NEP defense did. That's kind of how I look at it. It's really catch and throw and tackle. Simple fundamentals football. It wasn't anything where it was like, X's and O's. It was really about, catching, blocking, defeating blocks, tackling. That's what it came down to, really, and we didn't execute it.
All right, that is DeMarcus Covington, defense coordinator for the Patriots, talking about the Jets game, what we were referencing earlier. Andrew Callahan from the Boston Herald, who covers the Patriots, is here. All right, when Andrew Callahan came in a couple weeks ago for the first time, he had a segment for us. And Andrew, we've finally created an opening. Let's do it, shall we?
Which brings me, though, to my two stats and a lie. Two of these stats are obviously the truth. One is a lie.
You found a song. Spotify's an amazing
Okay,
thing.
yeah, if you're going to talk all over it, then we got to start it all over again.
All right.
I'll tell you when you can talk.
Which brings me, though, to my two stats and a lie. Two of these stats are obviously the truth. One is a lie. Some imaging with this would be fun.
Now you can talk.
It was the explosion that needed to be heard.
It's thunder.
That's
dumbass.
the post. That's the post.
Is thunder not God's explosion?
That's true.
Yeah, so eat it.
Now, there's a chance Andrew didn't like that.
I love that. I loved every second of that. Big thanks to
big thumbs up during it. Yeah, I liked it a lot.
There's another way we could go with this.
Oh.
All right, testing 1, 2, 3. Let's do this. It takes 2 steps from the other night. And one light, see if you can get it right. It takes 2 steps from the other night. And one light, see if you can get it right.
I'm surprised he struggled with that. You would think that he would get that right out.
I'll go with that one.
There's no struggle.
I like that one better.
I don't know why you say he's struggled. I mean, his actual raw audio came out pretty good.
All right, testing 1, 2, 3. I am in my shed, by the way, because Noah is sleeping. So let's do this. It takes 2 stats from the other night, and one light, see if you can get it right. All right, whatever. It takes 2 stats from the other night. It takes 2 stats from the other night, and one lie, see if you can get it right. And one lie, see if you can get it right. It takes 2 stats from the other night, and one lie, see if you can get it right. And one lie, and one lie, see if you can get it right. And one lie.
How was your night? Because my night was spent trying to make that.
Get used to that
you heard.
shed.
Oh, man.
Because I have a feeling that's going to be your house for the.
Hardy, you are a magician.
And one lie.
No, Hardy's great, but he's no magician. I mean that.
I like the music underneath,
All
though.
right, testing 1, 2, 3.
Let that roll.
Let's do this. It takes 2 steps from the other night. And one light, see if you can get it right.
So we'll just have this rolling underneath.
It takes 2 steps from the other night.
Very good. All right.
I think this is true love. Nick would not do this unless you really love the segment.
Yeah, no,
Sing
Nick-
in the shed alone. Like that, especially when you bleep that part out. That's like me starting my podcast every time. I need 5 restarts. That sounds so sweet and not angry the way that I do at home in my own shed.
Oh, yeah.
This is great.
Nicholas is professional. All right, Andrew, you have 2 stats that are true and one obviously that is false.
We're breaking the streak today. This is it.
Yeah,
right here.
we've never got, none of us, all 3 of us, and we don't come to a consensus. We all have different answers, and none of us have ever gotten it right, which is statistically improbable.
Here we go.
So before I read these off, and there's a 49ers flavor to this week, should we set any kind of stakes here? Like a costume?
One thing at
on
a
my
time. We
last
did the
appearance?
imaging this week. We'll worry about wagering next
Oh, my
week.
God.
Yeah, I know, Andrew. You're really pushing
I'm just
us.
feeling very confident. I want to take advantage of my position as the undefeated host. Okay, here we go. 2 stats and a lie. Number 1, Brock Purdy has more passing yards than the Patriots have total yards this season. Number 2, Gerard Mayo has never beaten the 49ers as a player or an assistant coach. Number 3, the Patriots have a better winning percentage as 10-point underdogs this century than they do at Miami.
Okay, I know what I'm going to go with.
They're 10.5-point underdogs in San Francisco. I'll read them one more time quickly. Brock Purdy has more passing yards than the Patriots have total yards this season. Gerard Mayo has never beaten the 49ers as a player or an assistant coach. The Patriots have a better winning percentage this century as 10-point underdogs or more than they do at Miami.
Okay. So, based on what you have put out there recently, you listed off the Patriots' 10-point underdog stats. 5th time they've been greater than 10-point underdogs this century. Was that Buffalo in 2023 in Week 16? You remember who won that game?
Patriots did. That was the win game. That was the
was that the win game?
I thought that was the win game.
I thought the win game was earlier in the year. I
Yeah,
thought that was the first time they played.
Yeah, Week 16. No, at Buffalo. All right, they were at Kansas City in 2020, and then Indy in 2001.
The, Cam Newton COVID game,
and everyone knows that they struggle with Miami.
Yes.
And so if they played so few of those games, all right, Brock Purdy's not been bad this year. He's not been the 49ers' problem.
Right.
And then the second one
was Mayo. I'm going with Mayo. Mayo's never had a win against San Francisco as a player, or because that just seems.
That seems like that would be the
unlikely.
most...
So that's the one he's trying to trip me up on.
Yeah. All right.
I'm going Mayo.
See, I'm going to play the game the way that I think Andrew intends it to be played. To be like, I'm not going to try to guess his modus operandi to trick us.
Just have to crawl around in that.
I'm going to just think of what I actually think would be the wrong stat, and that would be it's the same thing. Mayo has.
That's the lie.
That's the lie. Yeah,
Okay.
That's the lie. That's what I'm thinking is the lie.
What are you going with, Wally?
I'm going winning percentage. I'm going the underdog winning percentage. I think that's the lie.
Gentlemen, I started today 6-0. I end 7-2. Gerard Mayo has beaten the Patriots, beaten the 49ers once.
And Wallach, suck it dry.
So Wallach is still never won.
Okay.
Wallach, the so-called sports expert of the show,
Yeah.
is the one that has been falling down. Andrew, did that hurt your feelings a little bit that we got something right?
No, not at all. I'm glad this is a little more competitive. Honestly, I was getting a little bored in this chair.
Oh, boy.
But here's the thing about that stat, because Gerard beat the Niners as a rookie linebacker in 2008. He had 2 tackles. He's lost to them ever since. They lost in 2012. He was not a player or coach in 2016. The Patriots lost to the Niners in 2020, and here we go on Sunday. So he's 1-2 against them all time. Brock Purdy has 842 passing yards. The Patriots total have 739. To Wallach's guess about the Patriots having a better winning percentage at Miami, they are 9-15 at Miami this century. They are 2-2 as 10.5-point underdogs or more. Both of those wins were in 2001. Thank you, Tom Brady. They beat the Colts and then lost to Kansas City in 2020 and lost last December to the Bills, but they did cover.
All right. And very quickly, the prediction. Do you have a prediction for Sunday, or is it too early in the week?
It's too early in the week, but I'm not going to see you for another 7 days. So let's go Niners 26, Patriots 10.
Ooh, you like the cover. All right. Very good, everybody. Andrew Callahan, the Boston Herald. Thank you so much, sir. Great job as always. And when we come back, he's back.
Here he is.
The fantastic Adolfo Gonzalez is back and better than ever. We will have him in just a moment.
Touch your
Brought to you by Dr. Matthew Lopresti and Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, the hair doctor of Charlie McAvoy. Call 1-800-GET-HAIR for your free virtual or in-person hair loss consultation.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, the Patriots.
Into the end zone.
Play here.
Touchdown for the Patriots. Score.
WBZ FM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
Patriots held their first practice of the week yesterday in Foxborough and finally got both starting left tackle Verdarian Lowe and starting left guard City So out on the field. The bad news is they were without tight end Hunter Henry and defensive back Alex Austin. The team that started the regular season with 2 losses in 3 games. Gerard Mayo's just trying to move on to the next week.
Tried to put some things into perspective. You have a team that's picked to win the Super Bowl, gets blown out the next week. Like right now, it's about who can get better the quickest, and that's just what we have to do. We have to get back to the fundamentals when we talk about tackling and running and being able to move the ball and also take away is definitely a huge part of it.
His team will visit 1-2 San Francisco this Sunday. Former Patriots starting right tackle Calvin Anderson has signed a contract with Pittsburgh. Former Patriots defensive back Jalen Mills has been signed to the Jets practice squad. 2 Monday night games last night. The Washington Commanders won in Cincinnati 38-33. Bengals are 0-3. And Buffalo ran over Jacksonville 47-10 to move to 3-0. Red Sox won in Toronto 4-1. They have 5 games left. Ryan Baio starts against the Blue Jays tonight. And the Bruins preseason continues tonight against the Washington Capitals at TD Garden. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers have the call at 7 o'clock here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by PayBlocks. Need fast, secure payment solutions for your business? PayBlocks has you covered. Just like your favorite team, PayBlocks delivers every time. Score big with PayBlocks, where payments are quick and easy. Visit payblocks.com. That's PAYBLOX.com today. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
This is Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown turns the corner. Finger roll is up and good. Score to the foul.
Listen to home of the Boston Celtics, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Hey, if your alarm clock sounds like this is the show for you. Toucher and Hardy, the Sports Hub.
We are Toucher and Hardy. This is Adolfo's choice. They're playing tonight, Adolfo.
So I've heard. Yeah.
You want to go to the show?
Yeah, I would like to.
All right. I can't go.
Oh.
I have children.
Right.
And my ex-wife has had elective surgery, so I have to. I mean, she needed to get it, but it was. What I'm trying to say is her life was not in danger, but so I'm responsible for them. But would you want to go to the Idol show?
Yeah. Oh well, I know we were talking about maybe doing something, but I'll figure it out.
Well, we have a surprise. John Wallach is going to take you.
He's a huge fan.
Yeah.
He's a huge fan. All right, Adolfo Gonzalez is our. You can watch him on YouTube if you search 98.5 The Sports Hub. We had Adolfo on like a couple months ago or like a month ago, and we got to talking, and I realized how much I missed Adolfo. I've said that on the air several times.
Yep, you sure did.
I do. I miss Adolfo because you were like my right hand man. You and I. You
was
and
your
I.
Christopher.
Yeah, well, I don't get it.
Yeah, from The Sopranos.
Oh, that's right. You were my Christopher. Yeah. So we would all if I wanted to do something, I knew Adolfo, as long as I paid, that Adolfo would always be in my orbit. And if you don't know who Adolfo is, if it's been a long time, when we first came to Boston, actually, when we first auditioned as a show for the first time, we did it in Phoenix, and Rich actually had known Adolfo. Adolfo was someone who was hanging out around his radio station in Dallas. Adolfo came out to Phoenix. We did the audition. We loved Adolfo so much that we took him to Boston when we auditioned here. When we got the show, we ended up moving Adolfo up here. And you were with us for what, 2006 to when did you leave Boston?
2016, 10 years.
10 years Adolfo was with us. From 19 to 29, right? You were 19 when you moved up here.
Oh, yeah. I was a young man.
Yeah,
I'm almost the same age as Crash when we started.
Really?
Yeah, I'm 38.
No. Crash was in his 40s, right?
Well, he was about to turn 40. Remember that part?
Crash wasn't even 40 when we moved up
He
here?
was 39. We had his 40th, like a few months after we started.
That was that's right. That was his 40th birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm 10 years older than when Crash first moved here.
Yeah,
Crash seems so old.
He's 57.
Yeah. Crash seems so old back then.
The passage of time.
And you know what's funny is that age gap between Crash and I, as I've thought about this a lot too, since now I'm realizing I'm old, since I'm not married anymore, and that's become very obvious. It's been told to me by younger women constantly. They're always making fun of me for the age difference. And even when they're like, because I don't think someone who's like 38 is young. Like necessarily, I had 2 kids and everything by the time I was 38. But then I'm 11 years older than them. So they're poking fun at me. Go ahead, Adolfo.
Well, here's the thing about being 38 is like once you turn 38, you've been alive longer as an adult than you were as a child.
Yeah, and I figured out with my daughter yesterday, I've been on the radio longer than I haven't. So this is a big thing.
It sure is.
It's a big thing.
Yeah.
So Adolfo was with us for those 10 years. And then, so catch us up. Oh, that's right. You did the audio for us out in front of the NBA Finals.
Dallas.
Yes.
Down there in Dallas. So you went back to Dallas. What is your situation now? What have you been up to? How have you spend the last, I guess, 7 years? How have you been spending the last 7 years?
Well, the first 3 years were kind of a wash. You know, it was not going to be a good time within the first 2 weeks. I went to an Applebee's on a Sunday afternoon, and some guy threw a beer mug across the room and hit a guy in the head.
Oh, really?
And I had to throw the guy out.
Oh, so were you working at the Applebee's?
No, I wasn't. I was just there having a beer.
Oh, so it was a citizen's arrest.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah.
All right.
You know, I saw these 2 guys chirping. And I thought, oh, they were just probably arguing about sports or whatever. But then I remember where I grew up. And then I realized, no, it's probably a little bit more serious than that.
Yeah.
And so then his head split open, from having a beer mug to the head. And I was like, hey, you got to go, man. You can't, because the armed security guard that's usually there wasn't there that day.
Really? And so did he obey you when you asked him to do that?
I guess so, yeah. I used to be a bouncer. Anyway.
Where were you a bouncer?
Let's see. I was after the radio, I did work at a startup for a little bit.
Yeah.
I realized I don't know what I was doing, and this wasn't for me. And then, so I waited tables for a while.
That's right, in Boston.
In Boston, yeah. I'm sure, and I told people it wasn't me when they recognized me. Anyway, but then the manager was like, there's a bouncer position. You said that you have self-defense experience. So would you want to do it? I was like, yeah, sure. Apparently, they want people who are nice.
The Dalton philosophy. Yeah,
that's right. Okay,
Be
so
nice.
How are your parents? Your parents were divorced, but they were still living together.
Okay.
And your father at one point shot his own father.
No. His father-in-law.
Oh yeah,
my mother's father.
His father in the backyard shot his father-in-law.
Yeah.
And he just winged him.
Yeah,
but he shot him with a gun.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Par for the course.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when I moved back, they were together, and then for reasons, they were yapping at each other, and then they weren't together anymore. If you know anything about the culture, you could probably guess why. And then, okay, so it's one of those things where you kind of want to, you don't talk about what you do on your own free time, according to him.
Okay.
So that became an issue. And so they weren't talking for a while, and now they're back together.
Oh.
And the cycle continues.
Okay,
So-
but does that make you happy though?
No.
Okay, no, it doesn't.
No.
Because, but then I learned to accept it because, it's like I said, it's part of the culture. It's that whole it's what that movie Encanto is all about. You don't talk about generational trauma.
Okay, very good. Well, absolutely, it all comes back to Encanto. All right, and so when your sister,
she's doing great.
Okay, so your sister, and how many children does she have now?
She has 5. Oh, the oldest just graduated high school.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That was a baby.
Yeah.
At the
About
very
the same
beginning.
about the same age as your kids or your son.
Not too much older. All right, so she has 5 kids.
Yeah.
And the situation with the baby's father, that's okay?
No, he got deported.
Okay, so he got deported.
Yeah.
But is he the father of all 5 children?
Yes.
Okay, and he was deported. Has he been able to get back?
No, because well, the thing is, he's a nice guy, but he's also a very stupid guy.
Okay.
Yeah, and he wasn't real. He was hanging out with some really sketchy dudes.
All right.
And they've so cops found him with some drug paraphernalia.
Okay.
Yeah. And it literally wasn't his, but they found out his situation and sent him back, unfortunately.
Now, how long ago was that?
Oh boy, that was like about 8 years ago. Yeah, but here's the thing.
Okay.
So my sister at the time was talking to another guy, and like as soon as he got deported, this guy slid into her DMs, and now they're together. Like, so it's like a very Brady Bunch situation.
All right. Does the guy have any kids of his own?
I think he has like 1 or 2.
All right.
Yeah.
So you're telling me there's 7 children.
Yeah, but they don't all live together.
Okay.
Like, it's just the majority of the kids are my sister's kids.
Does your sister have any contact with the father who is he in Mexico?
He's in Mexico, yeah.
Any contact?
Yeah, actually okay. So actually they've contacted with him recently because his parents, who lived in my neighborhood for a very long time, are actually moving back to Mexico because
that's the dream.
Well, well, they're moving back because the house they were renting for many years got sold, and they kicked them out because of gentrification.
Right. So the neighborhood you grew up in is being gentrified.
Oh, big time. And you know what? I'm here for it a little bit.
Oh, you don't mind it so much.
Well, it's nice to be able to have a block that I can just walk around and do stuff with. But property taxes, that's a whole thing in Texas.
So you grew up in a bad neighborhood, is what you're saying?
Oh, it wasn't the best.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So how is your brother doing? You don't have to. You can.
Yeah.
If there's something you don't want to talk about, you don't have to talk about it.
He's doing fine.
Okay.
Just he does his thing, does the 9 to 5 thing. He works at a hospital.
Okay.
He's a transporter.
Okay.
He's just kind of like living his life.
Okay. Now, how many people are in your parents' home at this point?
Right now it's just me, my brother, and my dad.
Okay.
And a dog. And a cat.
Where's your mom?
My mom's a caretaker. So.
Oh, so she lives in the houses of the person she's taking care of?
Oh yeah, she's been with this family for over 30 years, close to 40. So like ever when they were starting to get old, she's essentially becomes their caretaker. It's because the person she's like 98 now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And, okay, so it's just you, your brother, and your dad, and you're getting along with your dad and your brother?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now, what are you doing for a living?
Thank you. What do you?
Because this is all the catch up. We're catching up. We're catching up with everyone.
This is what people say, and I'm glad we got the whole story and everything. But it's like, what is he doing? What is he up to?
How you earning a living these days?
Well, let's see here. So these days, I sell phones. Yeah. So like, I mostly fix them, and I also sell them. So yeah.
Now, is this for another business or is this your own business?
Oh no, it's for another business.
Okay.
I do like tech repair.
Is it like an iPhone, like iFix?
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah.
But you sell phones there too.
Oh yeah. So I could get you guys a deal if you want. Anyway,
okay.
But yeah, like that's what I do. And you know what? What's great about that gig is if I don't like where I'm working, I can find another job in 2 weeks.
So did you had to train to like learn how to fix these things, or they're just intuitive?
Oh yeah. The funny thing is because I got that Riz. Like I interview well. So that means like they were willing to train me, and when I screw up, they're like, okay, it happens. But eventually, I got good enough to where I'm like, oh, I know how to do this.
What's an example of a screw up? Like something that you like ruined somebody's phone that just
I ruined someone's car.
All right, explain.
How'd you do that?
So I used to do mobile repair, and at this time I wasn't very familiar driving.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a kind of a job you have to like drive on the highways. So I'm like, okay, cool, I guess. And then I got really good at driving eventually.
Right. But this particular time you had not yet achieved that.
No,
okay.
The backing out part was a little sketchy. So then I backed out, and I'm like, oh, I hit something. Oh, it was a car.
All right, so this was one of your first appointments. You were going out to fix something.
Oh, this was like after 3 months of doing it.
Okay, and you backed into someone's car.
Whose car did you ruin? The car you were driving or the car you backed into?
The car I backed into.
How many accidents have you been in since you've been driving? Because you didn't drive a lot in Boston.
No, I didn't. Only one. Oh, actually, no, two.
Okay.
One was that. The other time was I was driving my mom's truck. I took a turn too fast, and I ran into a wall.
All right. Well, that can happen. You were sober, obviously.
Yes, I was.
Okay, very good. All right. So, and in terms of your personal life, how has that been going? You were developing into quite a ladies' man here in Boston. How has that been going for you?
It's been going well, because I look very young for my age.
Yeah.
Like, people still think I'm in my 20s, so people don't really bat an eye if, I kind of dip in that pool a little bit.
How young a man are you now, Adolfo?
I'm 38.
38 years old.
Yeah.
So he's 6 years older than when I moved to Boston for the first time.
Wow. Yeah.
Adolfo was 6 years older.
Yeah.
He was 19.
He had it more together than I did.
Well, that's not the case.
I don't think he could fix anybody's phone.
That's for sure. I can't fix anything. All right, so you're down there. Are you on the dating apps and everything?
I mean, I don't do very well on the dating apps. I mostly do well in IRL. Like, I'm just like constantly just hitting people on the bars thing. Like,
okay, what is it? Oh, in real life is IRL.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I only have one rule. You never let a beautiful woman smoke alone.
All right, so if you see a beautiful woman outside smoking.
I ask for a cigarette and just start chatting them up.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Because you have that Riz, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
And so say you ask me for a cigarette, and I go, okay, here. And now what are you saying to me?
I was like, that's the way you do. Like, like, hey, I love that top on you. It looks great, and then, just kind of chat up.
Well, I'm
because usually what I
moist. Myself.
But what I usually do is, like, I just go up to someone I'm interested in. I'm like, you look like you'd be a good stand-up comedian, and just walk away. So if they come back and be like starting a conversation, we go from there.
Now, when they ask why would I be a good stand-up comedian, what do you say?
Oh, it's like you seem like you have a very humorous personality. You seem very outgoing. Is that correct for me to say?
Adolfo, you old charmer.
So what if this woman were to say, you know what, I've thought about it, but I don't know any jokes. Can you tell me a joke that I could use? Just give me something to start off with, just something old and corny, something, just a quick joke.
Oh, boy. I have been called daddy before, but I never had good with the dad jokes.
But there you go.
Yeah, that's kind of a joke.
There you go. There you have it. All right.
There.
All right. Well, Adolfo, you were here tonight and tomorrow night.
Uh-huh.
And then you were leaving Thursday.
Uh-huh.
Is there anything that you're dying to do while you're here?
I've been just dying to like do a lot of walking, just like visiting the sites, seeing how the city's changed. Because it's funny, because like I still I play Fallout 4 a lot, which is set in Boston. It's very post-apocalyptic, so it is kind of weird seeing, here's my memories of the city, here's my memories of that game, and here's my new memories of the city.
Right. Well, listen, it's great to have you back. I take it you're gonna come in again.
Oh yeah, I'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll get him tomorrow. Maybe I'll pick him up on my way in tomorrow. And maybe you up for doing something for us, or maybe some street audio or something like that. You don't have to if you don't want to.
Well, actually, today I am doing a collab with reporter Matt. So yeah.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I know him. Yeah, we used to hang out all the time.
All right, so we have to be able to use it too.
I'll ask. Yeah, he'd be down for that. Sure.
Well, he has to let us. I mean, if he's using Adolfo Gonzalez,
I would think that would be just a synergy.
First dibs
I mean,
seriously.
Geez Louise, we were the people that trained you. I mean, you can't just have him coming in and poaching talent like
seriously,
that.
you brought him here. Why would you not? Come on.
Who the F is this kid just stealing our stuff?
Well,
What'd you tell him? You tell him you keep an eye on him, Adolfo. I don't like that.
Well, we were basically doing the same things around the same time.
No.
Yeah.
He's your age.
Yeah.
He wasn't doing stuff at 19.
Oh no, he's been around for a while. Yeah.
Not for 20 some odd years. If he's 36, he hasn't been doing this since he was 16.
Well, maybe he was like maybe a couple years younger than me. I don't remember, but we used to hang out at the house shows all the time.
I don't doubt that you hung out with him.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that these street audio bits, these are not his property.
Well, that's the thing. I'm thinking about getting back into the game because, like man on the street stuff is big on the TikToks.
All right, so here's the deal. If you're going out tonight anyway, why don't you go out tonight? Then you send us some audio, and then we play it tomorrow on the show.
I'll see what I can do.
That'd be great.
That would be great.
It.
Let's not get Matt all mixed up into this thing.
Okay.
All right, Adolfo. He didn't fly you in here.
That's true.
What has he done for you? How many times has he brought you up to Boston?
Well, he's helping me out now. I reached out to him because I'm like, hey, I like what you're doing. Like,
listen, he's a talented guy. There's no question about it. He's very talented.
But how is he helping you out?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I realize his talent. I don't have an issue with his talent. His talent is great. I don't have an issue with what he does. It's fantastic. What my issue is that him co-opting our own Adolfo Gonzalez. He can use you, but only on if we can use you too.
Yeah, I believe we could work
All
something
right.
out.
That'd be nice.
You're making me very nervous, Adolfo. All right. Adolfo's going to be around this week. It's going to be fantastic. We will be back in just a moment.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
We are Toucher and Hardy. Adolfo is here. It's funny because Adolfo, I'm like, we can get dinner or something tonight. And he was like, okay. And I'm like, if you got something going on, don't worry about it. He's like, And so I'm like, all
It
right.
didn't go down like that.
Well, no, I'm glad. I told you, I'm glad that you have stuff to do.
Yeah.
Adolfo was going to extend his stay. He's asked me if I would.
Will I? Because I don't want any boss people listening to this.
Huh?
I don't know. It's just a thing. Anyway, go ahead.
All right. You don't want people to know that you're here longer.
He's worried
than
about
that?
the groupies. He's worried about the groupies.
Or he's worried about work. I think you're okay.
Because, I might get a case of that COVID,
All right. Very good. All right. Very good. But, and you got places to crash. You do not need me.
Yeah, I have places. Yeah, places crash.
All right.
Or I could just, simply do what I did when one night in Malden, where I just kind of stayed in a bank ATM until the first train.
I don't want you doing that.
Yeah. Nah, I'd be fine.
What if it's a really nice ATM
It
alcove,
was. It was very nice.
You're positive if I extend your ticket, you have a place to stay.
Oh yeah, I can find places to crash.
Okay.
Yeah, because I have a friend in particular who wants to I could do stuff, but only this weekend, and you should stay longer. I'm like, sure, if I can.
Yeah, because Adolfo's like, he's like, everyone's like, why am I leaving on a weekday? And I'm like, you told me to send you back.
That's true.
You gave me the dates.
I was trying to be considerate. I figured those were the cheapest times to fly. I'm sorry.
There's no.
Please don't hate me.
This is. Oh, shut up. There's no.
Fred, you got a lot of room in your place.
I also am taking care of my ex-wife and my children.
In your
I
house?
would love to see the kids.
Shut up. You're going to see the kids. They want to see you.
Oh, that's great.
Of course, Milo. Especially Milo. I don't think Zoe remembers you, but
She's
too
Milo
young.
does,
But Milo certainly remembers you.
Oh wow, I didn't realize.
Milo's 6'3" now.
Oh,
So
he's
I
a
saw.
big kid. Big kid.
Big kid. It's gonna be weird. It's going to be very strange. All right, listen. Let me look at who's on the phone.
We have some Adolfo love.
All right,
coming from the YouTube people.
Of course, they love him. They've been around forever.
They love him.
Sean, go ahead. You are on the air. Sean.
Yeah, is that me?
Yeah, you.
That's you.
Okay, sorry about that. Hey guys.
Hey.
Quick question. I'm curious, Adolfo. Have you met any of the interesting characters in Dallas that you've met in Boston over the years? There's not really as much of a pool of interesting people to pull from, over there in Dallas.
That's an excellent question, Sean.
Are there people as interesting as the people that you encountered here?
Well, that might be the tricky part, because interesting people out there, well, there are interesting people to talk to, but it's a bit of more of a struggle to find them, because out here you actually have common space, and you have these town squares, and you just have people who just hang out, who are very interesting folk, and people who know people. Texas, on the other hand, we're very insular people.
Okay.
They're
famous for that in Texas.
Oh yeah, that's why we got the guns.
All right, that's right. They love guns. Now, but you have to admit, as when we first got here, there were a lot crazier people on the street than there are now.
Yeah,
Did you? That was a weird evolution.
It was.
Remember Brookline?
Yeah.
Brookline was just full of insane people when we first moved here, and now they're just annoying.
Well,
but it used to be insane people.
I think a lot of that has to do with gentrification. You push all these people out, they have nowhere to go. So.
All right, but I don't know why that would happen to Brookline. All right, so you got an email there, Walt. You tell me
from
what's
Riz.
going on.
Riz, who checks in a bunch. He goes, my boy Adolfo got that Riz. Good to see the boy back in town. The fam loves him. Can't hate on the boy at all. Glad he came in studio. I feel like a proud father watching his son grow up. Watching Hardy's face when Adolfo was telling his stories was the best. There should be Adolfo updates when he leaves town also. Always have room for Adolfo in my heart.
Yeah. I mean, I love that Crash is part of the show again. I love that Adolfo is part of the show again. I love that I've stayed friends with these guys.
I would love to talk to Crash.
Yes, tomorrow he's on. You're going to be on with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow you're going to be on with Crash.
Mm-hmm.
And Crash will move things so he can put you part of it. Ooh, Ben, a trip down Beverly Lane. Ben, go ahead.
Freddie, baby.
Benjamin, how you doing, buddy?
I love you. YouTube loves you. And YouTube loves Adolfo. Have you been to any other weddings that topped the wedding that you attended in Rhode Island? My wedding, good sir, which you donned your finest apparel for.
Oh, yeah. It was the only thing that fit. But
What did you wear?
I wore like a denim shirt.
Benjamin, was it a denim wedding?
We were on the waterfront. Who cares? He was there. He didn't end up naked. Life was great.
All right. So how did you get Adolfo to come to your wedding? Did you know him before?
No, my wife actually hooked up with you guys because I was a big fan of Adolfo Makes the Call. And my wife, while getting her wedding dress on, arranged a train ride from Boston to Providence and then had to arrange an Uber while she was getting her makeup done for our wedding on that Friday morning from Providence to Narragansett. And when we said, hey, listen, you could stick around, he stuck around to the very end. He was the last person to leave. The best man brought him back to the train station. It was great. It was wonderful.
Yeah, Adolfo, he'll stick around. You'll get your money's worth with Adolfo. Well, Ben, thank you for sharing that experience. Are you still married? Is he good luck at weddings?
Still married. We've got a beautiful little girl. It's lovely.
All right. If I get married again, Adolfo, I'll have to have you there. Maybe this one will stick. We'll see that. Dan, go ahead, Daniel.
Hey, Adolfo. So I was in Utah a couple weeks ago, and I went and pulled over at this random middle-of-nowhere gas station, and I said, hey, Adolfo. And you just looked down and ran off, and I wanted to know what that was all about.
Were you in Utah recently?
I've never been in Utah.
Oh, that was not Adolfo. It was another Adolfo.
Man.
It was, what did you call yourself that time?
Joey Gutierrez.
Joey Gutierrez. That was Joey Gutierrez.
I remember
All right,
that.
thank you,
Yeah.
Dan.
When when I get a coffee, I go by Guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
Because saying Adolfo is hard for people.
All right.
Or spelling it out.
Are you the only Adolfo you know?
Besides my dad. Yeah.
Do you remember that there was I'm sorry to get so random, and then we'll get to more emails. But do you remember
keep it flowing, baby.
the Assy McGee? It was a Adult Swim cartoon, and they were big fans of the show, Clam Bake Animation, and it was on Adult Swim and everything. And they had a character named Rodolfo. He was the son of one of the main characters.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
They named him Rodolfo after you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was a pleasure.
That was when creative people used to listen to the show and reach out. That stopped once we went to sports. All right. Anyone else have anything that you would like to read?
Yeah, we have a couple of non-Adolfo related emails, but
let me just read this one.
Wallach is absolutely right. The YouTube chat is going nuts over Adolfo.
Yeah,
they
love him. Yeah,
absolutely love that he's.
They've been around since the beginning. This is I don't know who this is from, but it says you have to get Adolfo and Kendra in studio at the same time and let the magic happen. Yeah. Now that you're staying till Monday, you can come in with Kendra.
Yeah, you know what? I would like to get her input as a content creator.
That's very true.
Yeah.
She does create content, lots and lots of content. I think she's a little upset at Hardy right now because of his comments that she.
She was quick to email text from Buffalo.
Yeah,
after Hardy went after her betting patterns.
I mean, that's how she butters the bread. And you were throwing false claims out about her getting bets wrong.
Okay, I'm going to go back and check the audio because why else would I bet Buffalo?
Let's play the clip.
All right.
Yeah, I'll go back and check it.
All right, Phil, go ahead.
Hey, Adolfo, I wanted to ask you a couple questions, but first, do you have like a genetic thing that divides your age by 3? Because you sound like you're 12. You're not 38.
I don't know what to tell you.
He's like a Ralph Macchio type.
Yeah, everything about Adolfo is youthful, from his appearance to his voice. It really is. I'm envious.
I got the Andy Manilakis disease.
So you were saying you want to do some walking in Boston. I was thinking you could do a Riz of Kendra, like a Fallout Riz segment where the two of you just walk around Boston doing like a Fallout tour together.
Would you like to do that?
Would that be a good idea?
That's content.
That is 10.
Have you heard about these women? They walk. Kendra's not one of them.
They like to walk.
They walk.
Don't let her smoke alone, though. Don't let her smoke alone.
The walking bed.
Just don't let her smoke alone.
Phil, that's what you need, is that you need one of these women that are outside smoking. You say, can I have a cigarette? And then when they say yes, you say you could be a stand-up comedian.
I had a sports take, but I was too distracted by Adolfo. It's really great to hear you again, buddy. Good to see you.
Thank you. That's very nice of you, Phil. We appreciate it. There you go, Phil. Everyone loves Phil. Go ahead, Hardy.
There is one thing, Fred, that you and I absolutely have to address. We were contacted by our promotions director, Kelly Anderson, yesterday. And
thank you for reminding me.
She asked if we could say hello to Emily Murphy, who is 85 years old, a daily listener, and listens to the morning show. I don't know that she listens to any other show on the Sports Hub, but listens every day. She's going to turn 86 years old next month. Kelly surmised or guessed that maybe she is our oldest listener. If not, got to be close.
She's older than my parents.
So happy early birthday, Emily Murphy. Thank you for listening every day. Hopefully you've been a listener for a long time and you were appreciative of Adolfo being here today.
I am.
Yeah, when we first started, apparently she was 38. So there you go. Crash was 30. Jesus Christ, Adolfo.
Sorry to smack that with you with that.
I mean, really, it was. That's not the good. I used to think he was so old.
Yeah, we all did.
We all did.
You know,
like Crash was
it's different now.
I mean, really.
It really does.
I mean, look at me. I'm a perfect example of that. I've looked very young. I have the same situation as you, Adolfo.
But
All
you
right.
look great. Seriously.
Thank you. Well, listen, it was not. It needed to happen, or there wasn't much of an option. But thank you for that. As do you. You've stayed. You were slender when you left, and I got to tell you, you've kept that.
Nah,
off,
I just
my
wear
friend.
bigger clothing.
Oh, get out of here! Your false modesty. All right, listen. Adolfo is here. We will do the stack. Everyone's excited. I'm overwhelmed. This is a trip down memory lane. When you and Crash are on the air, I may weep.
I know I will.
I may. Do you think that you could weep?
Yeah.
Nicholas, if he weeps, I want a video. I want a video of Adolfo in here post haste on Instagram today. I've reached out to Kendra and asked if she'd make a video for you. I don't know if she'll get back to me because I think she's legit pissed at Hardy.
Did she say anything beyond the first
No.
thing? Oh,
No.
then
I think everyone's mad at us at all times. Not us. I think everyone's mad at me on a consistent basis.
did she text
Same.
you?
She didn't text me back.
Okay, so she texted you the
Okay,
first time though.
yeah,
So read the text to me, and I'll see if I have the same
She
level
said,
of
I did
fear.
not bet Jacksonville. I said, and then I said, like later, I said, thanks for texting. Don't let him get away with it. Ha. And then she never got back to me. And then that was at 7. And then
you think that she's really mad because of that?
Dude, I don't know. I think everyone's mad at me, especially if they're a female. I've been conditioned to think that they're consistent. Only my daughter I know is not mad at me. Everyone else I just assume's mad at me.
That'll change. How old is she?
14.
Oh, God.
No.
She's gonna...
I don't know.
16, 17, she's going to be so mad at you.
Yeah, I know.
And you know what you'll have done wrong?
Nothing.
Yeah,
I know. I'm very well aware that this point of us being this close is not going to last forever. She wants to hang out. Like I know, like
Take
she wants,
advantage of that like nobody's
like
business.
she wants to hang out with me more than like most of her friends, in like which I really appreciate. So I spend more time with her than anyone else in my life. I realize that this is ending soon.
Yeah,
I realize as soon as she gets a boyfriend, basically, I'll be out the door. I want her to enjoy her life, but I mean, this is gonna be very painful for her father when I'm replaced. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've encouraged her. I'm like, meet your husband in high school. I said, cut
Date
your
no
light
one
up.
else.
Yeah, I said, you stay with one person. You stay with that one person. That's what life's all about. you stick with that one person. That's what you do. I mean, listen, it works for some people. I don't encourage it, but I would assume it works for some people. I would err on the side of her not doing that. Same with my son, but we'll see. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
Patriots' next game is Sunday.
Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub. We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
All right, we are Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sports. Make every moment more with FanDuel. And Adolfo's off to downtown after this. Wallach and Hardy are off to Celtics Media Day. Fred, why don't you go to Celtics Media Day? I hate it. I haven't done it in many, many years.
Plus, we're going to spend some quality time together on Monday.
Yeah, Wallach and I always do, it's divvied. Wallach and I always do Bruins Media Day.
Which I would like to go to, but I cannot. I have a prior engagement on Monday. In Worcester.
The Bruins Media Day is interesting because it's very hit or miss. It's like some years they treat us like awesome and like they bring people in. They like last time we did it, they like brought people into us. Like we were the first. We had our own location, but there was one. It's not. I shouldn't say it's hit or miss. It's all hits, and then there was one miss. The year that we went out to Brighton, John, and you'll recall. They put us in basically a toilet.
They put us,
and I'm not kidding. Like they put us in a bathroom.
They put us in a bathroom with bathroom-like acoustics. You know, the sound reverberating all around us.
Like
and we
toilets.
Like one guy,
and we got one guy, and we were there for like 2.5 hours, and they brought in one guy.
It was a dungeon. It was really something.
So, are you guys going to the Garden, or are you going to Brighton?
It's the Garden.
They did a great job with us the last time.
Yeah, the Garden usually works better. They put us in our own. I mean, we're the radio home of the Bruins. But the Bruins are very nice to us. There was just the 1 year we got nobody.
Yeah. Well, we got Jim Montgomery last year. We got Brad Marchand last year.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so
keep them 2 minutes apiece.
8 bulls escaped from a one-day rodeo at the Emerald Square Mall in North Attleboro. Only 7 bulls were captured, though. And the one bull was still on the loose until last night.
Well, 15 years ago, my first TV job was in Bismarck, North Dakota. So this is quite literally not my first rodeo.
Hey! Television news is a tough nut to crack. You got to go to Bismarck, North Dakota, and rot there for a while.
Lassoed on Route 1 outside of a mall. That has to be a first for everybody. A bull's final bow on busy Route 1 Monday night. Cowboy cheers erupted outside the Emerald Square Mall after a runaway
You know what?
rodeo.
If they're all standing around watching this bull, I wish the bull would have just put its head down and ran right into the crowd.
Well, it ran into a couple of people. There was one guy standing there with a lasso in a video that was shot, obviously, earlier that night. And that bull gave him what for?
Well, he seemed to know what he was doing because he was sticking out his hand in a stop fashion.
Oh, I thought it was more like, what was it, Crocodile Dundee, where he does this thing.
No, this guy, and I don't even know if this guy's like a bull expert and this is the way you're supposed to do it, but it didn't work. No. His whole plan was to crouch and then stick his hand up like a stop. Like the bull was going to go, touche. All right.
Yeah.
I've met my match.
And
this
the
guy
bull
wants me to
flipped him
stop.
like 20 yards in the air. That was great.
Yeah. I mean, that's why the running with the bulls is something. If it was the running of the kittens would be hurt. The bulls, that's why they hurt you. They don't want to be in this rodeo.
After a runaway rodeo star returned to the scene of the crime. 8 bulls barreled through the fencing and took off into the woods. 7 were soon corralled and caught Sunday, but one main character kicked the wild goose to the curb, the wild bull chase becoming the talk of the town. Cruisers following the furry fugitive from Walmart.
Are they really furry?
No.
I mean, I know you love the alliteration, but would you describe a bull as being furry?
No.
No.
How about this bull-headed? As they followed this bull-headed creature, you see?
Yeah, that's good.
If you got an opening, I'm ready. It's good.
As it galloped toward Spirit Halloween, through the woods to Old Post Road, darting through backyards on Allen Ave, up toward BJ's restaurant, and across Route 1, returning to the mall. We wondered as the song goes, where have all the cowboys gone?
Hey.
The Stackyards.
She worked really hard on this script, you can tell.
I think she's doing a fine job. I wish she hadn't have mentioned that Meredith Brooks song. Paula Cole. It was Paula Cole.
Okay.
How did you mix them up?
I'm real proud of you for pulling that. That was good.
I know. I would never. I know the song. I would
Good
have.
for you, Party.
You couldn't tell
Good.
me. It wasn't something I used as a child.
We have all the Cowboys.
This was during the dark days of alternative radio in the 90s. We had to play this.
Yeah.
Because grunge was over, and they're like, now what do we got? Record companies would show, we got this song for you.
Oh, and this is insisted upon, like, this era by, like, so many of the programmers.
Lilith Fair, that was the whole thing.
Mazzy Star?
Oh, yeah, Mazzy.
Mazzy Star was decent.
Mazzy Star's not a bad band, but have you seen that, like, videos of them live?
No.
Like, the girl's, charismatic. She's got a good, she's not charismatic at all, actually. She has a very good voice, and she's attractive. But, I mean, the affectation of being, like, head down, mic on the stand, arms at her sides, like.
Yeah. I get it. It's heavy.
Yeah, I know, but you're at a festival. Like, you're playing at 2 o'clock at a festival. Like, you know, like, let's get over the illusion that you're tortured. This is the 85th time you've done this song this month. Like, you did this on Conan. Let's get over, like, that it's too painful for you. It's like every time this band does Ass Man, they start crying. All right, well, if you see Adolfo around, give him a big hug. Adolfo, it's great to see you.
Oh, thank you.
I will redo your flight, you pain in the ass. I'll redo your flight.
Thank you, Fred.
As soon as I can. I'll do it today or tomorrow. All right. Have fun at Celtics Media Day, guys. It generally sucks, but it's not in Canton. Oh, it's not in Canton. The one year it's not in Canton.
I know.
It's been in Canton every single year except for this one.
Last year it was not. But
Okay.
all the years before that,
Where'd they
was
do
in
it in Canton?
They did it for
as-
like 5 years
at
in
a
a row in
television
Canton.
studio, like
Oh,
at
yeah.
some video studio.
Son of a bitch.
Oh, that's right. That sucks. Yeah, that was right next to your house. Yeah, in that warehouse area. You know where they used to have that inflatable thing where my son was going to have his bar mitzvah? You know where it is. It doesn't matter. This is on the air. It doesn't matter.
I don't think it's by my house.
No.
But it's in Canton.
Yeah, what about they're closer than,
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know if it's next to your house, but it was close
It was
enough.
in Canton for like 5 years, and then they
But
moved
you're
to
lucky you
Brighton
just have
last
to go
year.
to Brighton.
Yeah.
And not downtown. All right, that'll do it for us,